Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, so I completely forgot that to have music playing in the startup screen, you need to like actually set that up. So I'll set that up for the next video. I promise. I swear. I might forget, we'll see. I'm not very good at this whole streaming thing. I'm a bit new to it. The music's just ever so slightly too loud there. But yeah, hello. How are we all doing today? How are we? I have had such an unbelievably long day already. I've been up since 5 o'clock, and for context, for anyone that's not, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I've been working non-stop, and I've just sat down now, and I'm intending to do a bit of a couple hour stream, 2-3 hours most likely, because you know we've gotta hustle. We've gotta get that gotta get the game made. Otherwise, it's never gonna happen. Gotta find that time somewhere. But no, glad to have you here. I still find it weird that you watch my stuff, Dynam, by the way. Dynam. Is it Dynam or Dynam? I feel like it's... I say subconsciously Dynam. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to be working on a bit of Yale level design. Because also, a lot of people have been saying that they want to kind of see my workflow for kind of doing some... setting up scenes and that kind of stuff for the game. So I thought... instead of just doing one really heavily edited video and having to do a bunch of extra work, I'll live stream it. People can jump in where they need to, see it kind of happen live, kind of see those little nuanced things, rather than me just cutting everything out. And I'll probably just end up coming in and making a bit of a long form video out of this later on down the line. Your stuff is great, so obviously oh, y'all stop blushing. Oh, it's whatever you want it to be. But I pronounce it Dynam. Dynam. Yeah, I very much say Dynam. I don't know. The dyslexic in me is like, but am I right? Is this true? I don't know. But no, I absolutely love your stuff, man. Yeah, you are such an inspiration. It's so weird having you are one of the main people that I watch when it comes to game dev stuff, because it's you're still kind of at the beginning of the whole making the game. It's quite relatable whenever I watch your stuff. It's just so weird that you're watching back. It's that weird I don't know. It's weird. I like it though, of course. I'm into it, but it is mad. It's the same with Aya. He subscribed to me, and that was just, what? Why do you watch me? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's ever just not going to be strange hearing anyone give you praise. I just can't take a compliment as well. I'm the worst person for it. Yeah, you have views. Bro, I wish I had your views. Yeah, 100, you get what, 50 to 100,000 views per video on average, pretty much, right? That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. How many people fit into a football stadium? Football stadium capacity. The average stadium holds about 100,000 people. So you, every video, are filling an entire football stadium worth of viewers. That's mad. That's mad. And then it's not even one-off, because your stuff's so consistent, and you've got the theme of your videos, the vibe down. And it's just the type of viewer you get isn't just oh, we'll watch this one video and then never interact with your channel. A lot of people on your channel are they're recurring viewers. They're actually fans. Like, it's so hard to get where you are now. It's so ridiculously hard to do. Like, one day, though. I'll get there one day. Yeah. But no, it's seriously, the stuff you do, it's seriously impressive. Not even just from, like, the gameplay standpoint, but just how you're managing, like, the marketing and all that kind of stuff, and managing the YouTube generally. It's inspiring, man. It's inspiring. Yeah, 30 to 40,000 people who watch every single devlog you make. Exactly. I'm one of those. You're one of the, like, I have about 7 people that I have my notification bell on for, and you're one of them. So, be flattered. Yeah, like, I love your stuff. It's just, it's fun. They're engaging. Like, and I think the most important thing is, you're consistent with it. Like, I sit down and I know I'm watching a Dynam video. Like, you've got such a unique take on the devlogs. Like, I don't think anyone could really make a devlog like yours. People could imitate you, but it would feel different. Like, your devlogs feel like your devlogs, you know? Yeah, I guess it does depend which kind of stadium. I was just kind of looking at the main ones. I literally just, whatever popped up on Google. I'm not a massive footballer myself, to be honest. I don't really do the whole sport thing. Like, I'm a game developer. Game developer and movement generally don't usually stereotypically go hand in hand. But no, I never liked football. I was always the one playing like board games or playing chess and that kind of stuff instead. I much preferred it. I was such a nerd in school. I love it. But no, I like, for context, I played when we did my GCSE PE. So we all had to get assessed on like 3 different sports so we could get our grade. And all the guys did rugby. I didn't. I did rounders. So it was me and pretty much all the females in the year, plus like 2 other guys playing rounders, and then everyone else playing rugby. And they're just like, I'm fine here. I don't want to get knocked to the ground. I don't want to get muddy. I have to wear these clothes the rest of the day. I don't want to get thrown around by guys twice my size because I was a small, skinny boy. Like, a light breeze would knock me over. The videos are amazing, but the upload schedule, on the other hand, this is true. We don't have enough Dynam. We need more Dynam. We need more videos, man. I have a style. I thought I was imitating others. That's the thing. Imitation is also the what's the saying? Imitation is the highest form of flattery or something. Like, nothing's original these days. Like, I actually watch your videos for reference for my videos as well. So, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? At this point, I don't think anyone can really tell. But, yeah, like, it's... I couldn't even tell you what the style is, but you just have this... I don't know, this sense. The videos flow so organically. I need to stop this ground check. I've done it, like, how many times? Let me do a quick little cheeky stop of that. I have this, like, really bad habit of doing all these checks and then not. How do I even... What's even triggering that? Okay, there we go. Are we ready to see how bad my code is? Are we ready for this? Are we ready? I've been really trying with my code. I really have. I've been trying to improve it, but there are definitely some things that I need to work on. Where is this grounded? There it is. I don't actually need you whatsoever. So let's close that down. There we go. I'm more of a soccer guy, mainly because of where my family comes from. Yeah, where is it you come from? Is that trying to remember where you come from. I'm sure you've told me before, Maple. Oh, I can't remember. Is it Germany? It's somewhere European, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, man. I know that Oh no, soccer. No, soccer would be more. Is it Argentina? I work with so many people from like all across the country. Like, it's mad. Even just the team for Umber's Tale. You've got me in the UK. Hannah works in Germany. Pen USB Mike does stuff, and he's over in Canada. And then the Millen brothers who do the music are in Argentina. Well, it's like none of us are in the same place. Pretty sure I haven't told you. Like, lol, yeah. Did I get it right? Did I lean? Was it Argentina? Germany or Argentina? I don't know. Like, I've spoken to like so many people from across the globe, because that's one of the beautiful things about doing YouTube as well. Like, you get to speak to so many different people, and it's awesome. Like, it's so cool. It's one of my favorite things, and it's one of the reasons I want to start doing these live streams, because I don't have time to just talk and have those one-on-one interactions with everyone, and I really want to, but the amount of DMs and stuff I get, or people reaching out via email or through Discord, it's a lot. It's like a lot of people to talk to, and I just don't have time for it. So I wanted to start doing like semi-regular streams so I can just engage, and like people have questions, answer them, and just get to know you, and like you get to know me a little bit more, and just have a bit more of that like transparency, I guess, because we can only like get to know each other so much in a devlog. It's all of like four to 6 minutes every month, if you're lucky, depending on my schedule. Argentina, I swear, yeah, I think you have told me this previously at some point. It might have been when you were playtesting the game and we were in a call together, because you won the spin, didn't you? And I think you just briefly told me. See, I listen. Hope you feel valued, Wherefore. I wasn't just sat there in the call. I was getting to know you, one-on-one. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, the code is magnificent. Nowhere close to my. Oh, you want to see some of the old code? That's a lie. You don't want to see some of the old code. But this is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. This is like mostly ChatGPT, but yeah, we don't talk about that. Because, well, no, I did a lot of the stuff, like, I know how to, like, set it up, but I didn't know how to do the maths bit, so I just kind of was just like, ChatGPT, how do I do the maths? But all this script here is literally just, that entire thing, I can definitely condense it down, because I was looking at this the other day and I was thinking, I also need to make it so I want to make this script a bit more reusable, but specifically this I can trigger through multiple different ways, especially with things like doors. But what this is, it sends a raycast down, sends this, but I wanted to be able to knock and hit the stalactites, but then you can't interact with it afterwards. But I want to make it such that when that collides with an enemy, for example, it deals a little bit of damage. And I also need to make it such that it damages the player, but I'm not 100% sure if I did that. Damage, so that's if you damage the stalactite itself. So I'm going to have to add some kind of collision check to damage an enemy or entity, but I'm going to do that off screen because watching me code, I think, is going to be a bit embarrassing. I'd need to do a bit of a rehearsal first, to be honest. Honestly, my favorite part about the online creator journey is streaming on Twitch with about 15 people that I got to know really well. I know streaming with 80 people is also very different. Yeah, honestly, I used to do a little bit of streaming. I was never streaming to like 80 people or anything like that. But there were certain points when I was doing Dead by Daylight streaming that I would get like 15 to 20 people in a chat at a time, and you could really be quite personal with that smaller group of people. I say that smaller group. It's a lot of people when you think about it, but when it's small when you compare it to like 80. Like, streams to 80 people, like, I almost, in a way, don't want to get to a point where I'm streaming to 80 people, because you do lose that kind of, that one-on-one connection that you can have and that conversation. But at the same time, if I get to a point where I'm streaming to like 80 people at a time, that means the channel's going pretty well, which obviously I do also want. So it's kind of catch-22. You really can't work. Who's is this you, Owen? Is this Owen? That's right, I'm here. Oh my goodness. Hello. I can't even chat him here. Honestly, like, that's the thing. I want to have those connections with people, but when I'm dyslexic, man, I cannot read all these messages going all at once. And it's also like, I've got my second monitor here, and I feel when I'm looking at the chat, I'm not looking at you, and I want to maintain that eye contact. Oh, it's stress. It's stressful. You can't escape me, boo. I can't stop waffling and read my messages. Yeah, I knew. As soon as I saw Munty, I was just like, this is either you or it's Munty themselves. The name wasn't even Munty. I was actually, funnily enough, just talking about my old DBD streaming days, which you would know all too fondly. Yeah, this Ozzer in chat is a friend of mine, in real life, and he was featured in the videos where I used to stream DBD and games. Hello, how are you doing? How is your game? How are things going with that? I saw that you added a new boss. It looks epic. The one with the red cloak. It looks sick. This is my YouTube account that I never use, and that's why I said Monty. Boo, girl. Yeah. I don't even have... I wanted to stream on both Twitch and YouTube, but my internet is not very good. So, yeah, we're not doing that. I did try it yesterday. This is why I did a bit of a test. But it was not having it, because I still live in student accommodation, and I'm still on wired internet, or not wired. I'm on wireless internet. So I'm surprised the stream's running at all, to be perfectly candid. Right, I'm off to the Outlast trials. Best of luck with the Outlast. I hope you win. I hope you win. But yeah, I need this caffeine, man. I'm so tired. Just drained. Can I pop out the chat so I can... Oh, I can pop out chat. Oh, that's just what I needed. Perfect. Okay, let's put that there. And let me have my chat lit on this side of the screen. That way I can actually see you a little bit better. There we go. That's what we needed. Happy days. What about the development of Amber's Tale? Well, you're about to see. We're here. We're in Amber's Tale right now. Look at this. It's going okay though. It's been a bit stagnant for the past couple of weeks, just because there's been obviously build up to Christmas. I've been spending the time with family and such. So this weekend I went back to Liverpool. That's where I'm from. It's where the family resides. So I spent some time with them. Because I can't get the time off work at Christmas. Because I work in the mornings. I work 5 o'clock until 12 o'clock in the morning, and then I come home, have dinner, and then I crack on with a bit of work until my partner gets back at about like 5:30 when they finish their job. So it gives me a good like 4 hours in the afternoon, kind of uninterrupted to myself. But at the same time, when you're uninterrupted and to yourself, it can lead to procrastination, which is not good. Swiping on YouTube Shorts becomes a little bit too addictive, and then bada bing bada boom, the day is gone. But no, it's going okay. I've got a bit of a plan for today. The plan being, I've got a little Asprite file here. I want to map out or ideate some ideas for the map, or the general layout of which the map will be displayed. So, because at the moment we have the following. So if I zone 1, I forget which ones are actually linked up together. Let me load this up. Close down the art tab. We need to get into scenes. Main zone 1. Yeah. And then I think it's scene 1. There we go. Yeah. So we've got these two scenes at the moment, which is literally just the beginning bit, which I still need to add little icons that I had in the demo, which have little text pop-ups that come up onto the screen, and it kind of showcases, press X to attack, press A to jump, because we need to tutorialize and pretend that everyone who's playing our game has never played a game before. Borden, hello! Borden, I'll show you something that might look ever so familiar to you. You see all these super states and stuff? Oh my goodness. Where are we? Where's the main player? Finite state machine. Oh! Oh! I mean, this won't look familiar. I've organized it. Oh, Borden! You are the mastermind behind this all. Look at it. It's all your code that I've adapted at this point. That series is like 45 hours of my life that has single-handedly like kickstarted this game. How are things? How are things with you? How are things? You've not been around much, have you? Because you were moving last time we spoke, were you not? It's been a hot minute. It's been a while. It's been a while. But yeah, procrastination is honestly my permanent state of being. Like, it's so tricky. Like, even now, like, I can't stay focused. Like, I want to talk to you and engage, but then I lose my train of thought. So I'll quickly just go back to what I was saying. So the plan. This is literally all I have. This is Amber's tale right now. These two scenes. Technically, there are more. However, this is all stuff from the demo. So, for example, down here in the previous demo, you'd come down, you'd have a little bit here where you work your way down. But since then, I've reworked a lot of stuff, especially the visual overhaul. So nothing in the old scenes basically works whatsoever. It's just a big no-go. This exhibit errors. So yeah, we don't do that anymore. So it's essentially, we've got a blank canvas, which is a great way, or it's a great starting point for us to basically come in and say, well, what have we got? Where do we need to be? And how are we going to get there? So this is more going to be just like a bit of a rough, it's going to be a rough kind of guesstimate. This is the background, but this will act as essentially a place for us to build from. Zone 1. There we go. So we can basically map out what we want the zones to be, what kind of upgrades we need to go where, that kind of stuff. The different mechanics. Also, just listing out the different mechanics that are going to be in different zones. Because I've got a bit of a design document together. I've started kind of annotating everything that we needed to be together, just so that it's clear, it's concise. Because at the end of the day, not only do I need to understand what I'm creating, but because I'm doing devlogs and things like that, because I'm going to start doing these streams, we need to make sure that you also understand my train of thought. And if I don't effectively communicate that, whether that be verbally or just annotate anything, you're not going to know what's going on, because I haven't effectively communicated that. So yeah, it's something I need to get better at. I'm in denial. Yeah, I've been in a funk trying to get up, going to work, but slowly getting back to it. Glad to see you've taken it and made it better. I don't know about better. I don't know about better. The code's a bit jank. It works. I would say it's better contextually for my needs. But I learned so much. Like the fact that now, for the longest time, I was watching your videos just as context. Like, oh, I need to double check how to do this. How do I do that? I'm at a point now, thanks to you and your videos, where if I want to add a new state, I don't even need to go back and watch your videos. I'm sorry, you're not getting those additional views anymore, because you'd explain it in such a way, and it was like you introduced new things over the course of the series in such a way that I understand the code and I'm able to implement and adapt it myself. And before I started your series, I was a complete newbie when it comes to this stuff. I had all my players script in one script. It was all there. It was terrible. It was very inefficient. Just didn't do the job. It was full of bugs. It was poorly optimized. But now, it's still all those things. But no, it's not. I'm actually very proud of the player script, I must say. I'm very happy with how it's turned out. There are definitely things that could be done differently, but after doing my first pass on the refactoring, because I did refactor a lot of stuff. Like, for example, your enemy script, I'm not gonna lie, I don't do it the same way you do. I do it a little bit differently, but it was purely based on the fact that for Amber's Tale, I didn't want enemies to share all that much behavior. Like, other than obviously like your idle states and that kind of stuff. Like, yes, in a way I could make it such that that's all shared scripting, but even still, I was very much stuck in that kind of frame of mind of, if I'm going to be doing stuff one way, I should just stick to that, rather than having like some of the scripts be shared, like the idle state, the walk state and things like that, and then other states be like independent. I was just like, I'll just have them all as independent, because generally speaking, there's only going to be like, let's say at most 5 or 6 different enemy types running or playing at any same time, so I don't really have to worry about the optimization of it, and the fact that, yes, technically I could have these 5 different enemies sharing the same idle script if they're all doing the same thing, but is 5 different enemies running the same stuff over and over and just recycling 5 scripts worth of stuff really going to have that much of an effect on the performance in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. So it became less of an issue, because I want to admit it was my second attempt at a full oh no, you sent more messages before then. The ultimate compliment, thank you. You're welcome. You are welcome. I'm so glad you're not doing it the same way. Because I'll admit it was my second attempt and it was bad. I wouldn't say it's bad at all. I would say it's very... I wouldn't even want to say beginner friendly, because it's not really beginner friendly. It is and it isn't, right? Like, you stick your tutorial in front of me, I know nothing about coding, I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. But I'd been doing it for a year, I'd already done it the wrong way, I have a bit of an understanding. I have no idea what a finite state machine is, or really I didn't know what a design pattern was. Now I'm fully aware, and I'm implementing different design patterns, and it's interesting because I get to look into different things, like these different design patterns, what's going on, how can I make things more efficient and less work for me in the long run. That's interesting now, but it definitely took that year of screwing up and doing it the wrong way to then come and discover your video and then be like, this is the next step. This is a step up, you know? Because I wouldn't even say it's intermediate. Well, maybe it is. I think your videos are definitely targeted at like an intermediate game dev. Because, yeah, I think that sounds about right. Because I think my frame of reference is like, because I know a lot of people who do like professional game development, just from like people I know in industry and such, and it's like, that's my frame of reference, and that's professional, that's pro. So intermediate should be like almost that, but not quite. But that's not quite true. There's quite the margin's quite big. Like, you've got, in fact, I'm gonna do a software pirate right here, if you guys know who that is. Is there a dark mode? Is there a dark mode for paint? No, there isn't. Still, I will whip this up. So you've got like pro here, right? So we've got professional game development. You've got intermediate, which is like int, and then you've got like the beginner, which is down here. My frame of reference, right, is like the distance from here to here is like quite large. Like, this is a big difference. And then from intermediate to pro is a small difference. But I would say I am wrong. I'd actually say there is more of a difference going from like intermediate to pro than there is from beginner to intermediate. And I think most people would think this way. Most people would think that like the difference from intermediate to pro is so much bigger. But it's I don't know. I always thought like that starting your journey is the hard part. It's that's gonna take so long to do. I'm gonna take so long to learn this, and I think I just had it backwards my whole life. I don't know. But yeah, your videos, to summarize, your videos helped me an awful lot. I actually remember when I first started out. The reason I bring all this up is because I vividly remember this. When I first started game development, I'm talking my first year of university, I came across one of your videos, I loaded it up, I watched all of like 5 minutes, and I was just like, this is way too complicated. This is too much. No. And I disregarded your video. But then a year later, it was about a year and a half, 2 years later, I came back and I had a completely different frame of mind. I'd been doing it for about a year. I say doing it, I'd like done a little bit of programming. I'd made a couple small little prototypes. They're not even games at this point. They're just, I could argue they're not even, you can't even define them as prototypes, but still. But I'd done that. I watched your video and I was just like, okay, this is still too complicated for me, but let me commit to this. And it worked. It worked. Here we are today. I mean, I'm still your code is still the backbone of my entire player system, and my enemies, for the most part. So I don't know. But yeah, I'd argue. I'd argue this is probably just bad. I think not intermediate, but like this system is bad. It's more of a scale, like where like predetermined. Like you think beginner is at the beginning, intermediate is like. I want to like move over this way. It's more of a scale. Like beginning is. In fact, can I just like get rid of this and just move over here a bit? There we go. So like game development is a scale where like most people think beginner is here, intermediate is here, and pro is here. And it's like, I think this is kind of incorrect. I think intermediate kind of starts more here. Like this entire section here, I'd say is like intermediate. Like you don't have to get to this point to be classed as intermediate. Like you can be pretty intermediate at game development after a few weeks or months, to be honest. But it's like it's a big gap. Like even that, like it depends on the context. Even as you say, yeah, person to person, it can be really it's really tricky to define. What would you define as intermediate? I think I personally would define the stage I am at. Like my personal definition of being an intermediate game developer, I think that's kind of I personally feel like I am in that stage. I don't know whereabouts within the stage. I'd say I'm maybe like here. If we're saying this is like, I don't need to, professional being, I don't really need to look at all that many tutorials to make a game anymore. I know what I'm doing. And beginner being like, what is C#? I'd say I'm about here. Like, I still very much need tutorials. I do rely on tutorials a lot. However, I'm not in that kind of tutorial hell state where I need to watch it to copy it. Like I watch it to gain understanding, and then I implement my own methods, if that makes sense. I take what I've learned and I adapt it in my own way. It's usually, I usually do most of the code I write, and most of the code that I end up taking, even the stuff from Bardent, for example, a lot of the stuff that you'll look at my code, it doesn't look the same as it does in Bardent's tutorials. That you can recognize it. It's got that kind of, it's got that mark. It's still got that kind of flow sense, and the main way it functions is fundamentally pretty similar, but it's definitely my code at this point. I personally don't use tutorials enough. yeah, it's a really weird space that we all kind of live in at the moment. Obviously, with the rise of like AI, ChatGPT, and that kind of stuff, I feel like tutorials are maybe slightly less relevant enough these days. I have a rough understanding of basic systems and use those to achieve what I want. Yeah, and I think that kind of comes with practice. And I might, like, you'll have learned those systems, or I don't know about how you learned all, because I guess everyone's journey is different as well. Like, I went to uni for 4 years to study game design. However, most of the stuff that I've learned, and most of the stuff that I do now, I wouldn't say I've learned from going to university whatsoever. At all. Like, university taught me... That's the thing, I wouldn't even say going to university to study this even taught me how to be a game designer, even though it definitely focused more on the game design aspects rather than the programming and the art. It was very design focused. Ooh, I do apologize. But it's really tricky. Like, pretty much all the code and stuff is taught pretty much through YouTube. I genuinely do accredit a solid like 63.5% of my programming understanding to Bardent. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it's not in the way that like they have taught you or that Bardent has taught me this stuff specifically in this set of systems, but watching their videos taught me a certain workflow and a way to think of like programming as a problem and finding a route to solve it. It's like, okay, yeah, Bardent basically taught me how to think as a programmer. It's not just, this is a problem, and this is how we solve it. It's, this is where I want to be, therefore I need these 4 aspects set up in a way that they work together harmoniously. And I want to recycle certain aspects. I would never have thought in a way that I want to make, if I'm writing a script, can I make it in such a way that it can be used for multiple purposes or for multiple reasons? I'd never have done that. I never used to do that. Whereas now I'm thinking, even with like setting up things like the doors, it's not here now. I think it is still here. Have I just hidden it? Objects, interactable door. Yes, here we go. I have a door here. But I've even started thinking in ways of like, I now have a trigger interaction base which I inherit from. Can I like get to this? Trigger interaction base. Here we go. I've now set up a script that I can use to inherit from, which basically has this set. So basically, if I ever want to have some kind of interaction, so Amber interact with an object, I use this. I basically inherit from this script, and I don't have to recycle everything. It all just works there. And then I use the interact function here, essentially to do what I want. In this case, it's just open up a door. But like this would have been like so much longer but like, because I've followed your tutorials, I've followed your like workflow, I'm like, okay, I think differently when it comes to problem solving now. And that's one of the things I'm much happier about. Like, I feel I've got so much more to learn with regards to programming and game design, but like I'm happy with how far I've come in just a year even. Like, you take me back to where I was a year ago. Unrecognizable. And I definitely credit that to you, Varden. 100%. And while I was on that absolute rant, you've left a few messages. Let's catch up. I do apologize. I'm not ignoring. I went full rant mode. Good rant though. It's a good rant. Just a nice melon. Oh, I like melons. Hey, what's happening right now? Seems like you're having plans on the ability or something. So, the plan for this was to essentially just outline, and template doing some level design, because a lot of people on like a lot of my devlogs have said that they want to know my workflow for setting up a level. So I thought I'd do a bit of a live stream, kind of talk my way through it, maybe even just set up a bit of a third level, maybe coming off this side, just for contextual, which just for context, so people can understand kind of how I go about doing it. So that's probably what will end up happening. In the meantime, we're having a little chat, we're having a groove, we're having a dance, we're having a party. So yeah, that's what's happening. It's the plan anyway. As I do, of course, forgot to mention, represent Amber's Tale on my shirt. Merch coming soon. Maybe, probably. I don't know. I've got no immediate plans. I'm not even monetized on YouTube, so it's going to take a hot minute before we're there, really. But I do technically have Amber's Tale branded stuff, which this is honestly one of my favorite hoodies. Not even because it's something I've made personally, like as in Amber's Tale. But yeah, it's cool. I don't know. It's so cozy. But I definitely want to get some hoodies and stuff set up soon. I have a rough understanding of basic systems and how to achieve them, which is a bad way to code, by the way. I mean, it's not a bad way. It's your way. Like, but yeah, generally speaking, I don't even know. I don't think I am qualified to advise on that kind of stuff, really. Like, I'm more than happy to talk about how I do it, but I don't think I'm really in a position to say what is good or bad. I know what works for me, or what has been working for me, but at the same time, you don't know what you don't know. You know? So it's one of those things, like, I definitely understand from watching a lot of other people that being overly reliant on tutorials is a bad thing. But also, when you're starting out and you're not at that stage where you can just write anything and you just understand how things work, and you kind of need the tutorials, it's really hard to strike that balance. Really hard to strike that balance. Give me 1 second. I need to cough. I've not talked this much in ages. And we're back. Jesus. I can feel my throat. I can feel it. Not talked so much in such a long time. Let's get the chat back up. What else are we saying? I feel like I'm completely missing things. Yeah, agreed. We all build up our experience in different aspects. I can make a character controller no problem now, but if I create an inventory system that needs to... Yeah, don't talk to me about an inventory system. Pardon. I am just so upset. I was really upset that you didn't have a tutorial for setting up a skill tree. And I will tell you something. There are not many people who have tutorials for setting up a skill tree. I had to figure this shit out myself. And it was hard. It took me so long to figure this out. Even just in the way. And honestly, I'm not even 100% happy with the code, because there's definitely a much better way to do this. I will show you this code. It is... I mean, in some regards, right, the code is quite nice. But in most ways, I don't think it is. Where are feature menu? Skill tree. Yeah. So this is my current skill tree system. I have 2 arrays, each of which has their own kind of like ability set, and I select what each of the abilities are in here. So whether it be, if I zoom out just so we can see it, each of these like white ones, or these white and blue ones, are the main abilities, and these red ones are the like unlocks that go along with it. So all of these are kind of associated. So this being the dash ability, all these red ones are associated with the dash. So then if we come back to the skill tree, I have the dash button, and all the sub abilities are like underneath with dash distance and that kind of stuff. And I assign the button so that I've got in the actual code itself, it assigns all the different bits and bobs, blah, 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 blah. Very uninteresting stuff. But then I also have a second array for all the connections. And honestly, troubleshooting this, if things aren't working, is like the biggest pain in my backside ever. I hate it. And a lot of this stuff, like, here, we're looking at this. Like, this is basically the same as this, so I could definitely make a function and condense this down. Like, it's there again. But debugging this and setting this up was so tricky to do. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, I'm now at a point where it works, so I'm just leaving it be for now. I might do a little refactor again at some point, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It might be a pain in my backside to actually set up if I want to add new abilities, but I know how it works, so I'm just going to kind of leave it be. Leave it be for now. Because there is a distinct lack of tutorials online for skill trees. And the ones that were on there didn't really fit what I wanted. Like, there was a Code Monkey one, which was good, but because of the nuances that are within my skill tree system, it's like it didn't really work completely for what I wanted. So yeah, I basically had to figure this out. There was a lot of ChatGPT involved. It took, honestly, it took me like a month and a half to get this figured out properly. And that half of that is just because I'm bad. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm in this weird state where I know a lot about game dev, but nothing about coding. Just work with someone else. Learn. I can recommend some great tutorials by this YouTuber called Barden. If you don't know much about coding, honestly, just click on Barden's name and watch his tutorial. It'll teach you so much. But that's the thing as well. Like, I would honestly, if you know a lot about game dev, but you struggle with the coding aspect, like, working with other people can be a great way to do that. Like, I really struggle with the artistic side. Like, I can take things and make them look pretty. Like, I look at Amber's Time and I'm like, it's a pretty game. Like, I think it looks okay. It looks cute. I'm pretty proud of it. There's definitely a lot more that needs to go into it, but I think generally speaking, it's an aesthetic game. Oh, there we go. There's the interact function working. There we go. Yeah. However, you ask me to make these assets from scratch, I'm not your guy. I can't do the art by myself. It's something I really, really struggle with. But now working with Hannah, she makes the assets. Well, Hannah and Brandon, USB Mike, they make the actual sprites and the assets and the animations, and I'm able to take those and make them work in the context of my game. I can't draw to save my life. Exhibit this paint spreadsheet. I mean, need I say more? Let's not save that. Yeah, need I say more? So honestly, like, the biggest piece of advice that I always give to people, because there's a lot of people that do reach out and they're like, I know a lot about like the design stuff. I've got design documents. I've got all these ideas, but I don't know how to execute them. I'm just like, do game jams, man. Do some game jams. Like, put yourself forward to like contribute as part of a team, and like you can focus on the aspect of game design that you really enjoy, which is maybe the design or the art. And someone else can work with you to do the programming side of things. I mean, some of the best games that are out there started as game jams. I mean, look at Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight started off as, what was it? The Hungry Knight, which was a game jam entry. And they actually met each other at that game jam, the creators of Hollow Knight. So it's like, you've got your designer, you've got an artist, they come together, bada bing, bada boom. And then what the designer, I forget his name. What's the name of the designer? Team Cherry. Yeah, so you've got Ari Gibson, who's the artist. And it was William Pellin. He's primarily a designer. But later on down the line, they ended up bringing on a programmer, because that was the part that he struggled with more. He still does a lot of the programming and he still contributes in a meaningful way towards that, but they have a dedicated person for that. That's one of the hardest things about being like an independent person, or someone like, or just working on games from scratch, is you have to have a hand in a lot of different pots. You have to know how to do art, you have to know how to program, you have to know how to design. And one of the easiest ways to just kind of overcome that is focus on one thing that you're really good at and the one thing you enjoy most, and just work with other people. Because it's such a collaborative industry. I mean, you look at any kind of, like, even just larger studios even. everyone knows each other. Everyone knows everyone, and you're always interconnecting. All the departments are speaking to each other constantly. And it's like you have to work with people. And I think I've hit that so many people, especially those who are maybe a bit younger and are new to the industry or haven't gone to maybe university like I have to do it. You realize very quickly that this is a community. This is a community industry. You have to work with people. It's not something you're going to do well at if you do it on your own. For the most part, don't get me wrong, there are exceptions. Like the guy who made, what's it called, Stardew Valley, did that all by himself. Yeah, it's an amazing game. You can do that. But the vast majority of people, they'll be working in teams. Or at least collaborating in some regard, you know? I won games for Dynam's Game Jam. Oh, I am so gutted that I missed that. I really wanted to join, but that was like the 1 week that I was just like uber busy, so I just couldn't. But the next Dynam Game Jam, that'll be a different story. I might partake, because I definitely want to get involved in some more game jams for sure, 100%. I was actually thinking about hosting one myself, but I don't think I've got the following to really justify it right now. I don't know, there might be like 2 entrants and I'll be one of them. Like, we'll see. But it'll be that's something I really, really want to do. I really want a Lacey Studios game jam at some point. Because that's just cool. That's just cool. Honestly, it's very difficult to go from the abstract idea of what you want a game to be to actually being able to code that game. Exactly. It's so bad. It's really hard to do. Really hard to do. And the thing is, it's not even like, oh, there's these like 3 scripts that you write and suddenly it all works. It's just not. You need to know so much. You need to know how to have to make a player. Okay, you've got something that moves around. Well, what's the main core mechanic of the game? Well, in my case, it was making the skill tree. That took me a month and a half to figure out. So then you've got that. Well, now I've got a player character that moves. I've got a key mechanic in the way of my skill tree. Well, it's still not a game yet. Well, I need an environment. Well, now I need to work on the art. But then you have to do some programming with regards to that as well. Like, even subtle things. Like, you'll notice as I'm kind of walking around Amber's tail. You'll see that, well, in this case, I've got, like, this rock that moves. You've got multiple different environmental hazards and things that you need to code. Like, even if you look at the bushes, you'll see as you walk and step over them, they all compress a little bit. Like such. You can see it a bit more there. I think you can see it a bit easier if I go in the corner so the camera isn't moving. But there, you can see that they all move slightly depending on where you're moving. Well, that needs a script. Well, then we need a save system. And then you need another script. Well, then you need to do some UI work. And UI is a beast on its own. Guess what? You need scripts for that. It's like, you need to know so much programming in order to get a game running. It's ridiculous. That's why I think so many people are going for things like, well, visual scripting. Things like, oh, Pen USB Mic. Brandon, hello. People like Pen USB Mic. What's the engine that you use to make Bullet Bunny? Because it's less programming and that it's a kind of a visual editor, isn't it? Is it a G develop or something like that? Terrible characters. These are beautiful, Brendan. They're beautiful. Look at her. She's free flowing and spirited, with all these like, with the Grim Reaper inside her apparently. G develop, exactly. I think this is why G develop is gonna like really kind of. Things like G develop are kicking off. Even I mean, you look at Unreal Engine. I think that's the extreme. That's the extreme end of it all, where it's like that's very much visual scripting, but it's a different ball game. It's a little bit easier to absorb. It's the learning curve isn't as steep as just programming straight in C#, for example, or even just Python or anything like that, or GD script for Godot. It's not as much of a hurdle, but to really get things working well and getting those fundamentals down, it's a steep it's a steep hill to climb, I've got to say. But I will preface that with it's definitely worth it. Like, actually dedicating that time to learn this stuff for me is one of the best things. It's one of the best decisions I ever made personally. I would not go back, 100%. But yeah, like I've there's so many messages going on. I can't. I've been like I read one message and I'm going on like rants for it. I'm terrible at this, blimey. Where are we? Nice melons. Oh well, what was the other drawing then? It had to be some stick figure or something. Merch, yo. Yeah, merch. Something I definitely want to bring out at some point. But most likely it'll be if I ever get monetized on YouTube. It's a big if. Because I've got the subscribers for it. I've had the subscribers for a while, but it's getting those watch hours. It takes a damn long time. The issue being that obviously with doing devlogs, I can only really get one out a month, and my shorts don't contribute to that, which is again another reason why I'm like, just to add another reason why I wanted to start streaming. The watch hours from watching my streams will count towards getting me monetized as well. So even if you're not going to even if you're going to watch, you're not going to engage if I am streaming, if you just stick it on in the background, that helps me an awful lot. Because streaming can contribute to get those watch hours a lot easier, meaning that I can get monetized, I can get merch out, and get that little bit of trickle of ad revenue and things like that. And so I can get merch out just so I can basically put any money that I get as soon as I get monetized is basically being sent straight to Brandon or to Hannah or to the Millen brothers so that they can make more awesome art, music, and everything for the game. Like, I'm just working. I'm working myself in the morning, so I don't necessarily need the money myself. So any extra money that I get from my job or that I get from like YouTube, obviously up until a certain point, is just being funneled straight back into the game. Like, all my disposable income into this. Because I want this to turn into something, and I think it can turn into something. And yeah, merch is cool. Amber's Tale, yeah, might be going on at some point. And what was the other drawing then? What other drawing? Was this the stuff on the painting on here? This was me just talking about. That was me talking about the difference between pro, intermediate, and like beginner game dev, that kind of timeline. But it was still a terrible drawing. It sounds like we now have someone who can make a tutorial for the community. No, I am not. I am not making a tutorial. That's the thing, right? I could make a tutorial explaining how my skill tree system works. There is one flaw in that, and that is the fact that I still don't understand how my skill tree system works. But honestly, I think it is something I probably will do. I don't think it's a great way of doing the things I'm doing. I think there are definitely some good parts to it. And I think if I wasn't doing this whole... If I pull it up again. If I wasn't doing this whole branching thing with the subs trees, and I just had just the base skill tree, that would be a lot easier to handle. Because it would literally just be one point for every ability. But it's the fact that I'm storing every single ability and every single upgrade within one array. It just makes it really messy. But I think for a standard kind of skill tree, I think it probably could work pretty well. It would definitely be a lot more simple, for sure. But if I pull up the ability manager, where is it? It's under player data somewhere here. State data, is it this? Ability manager. Yes, here we go. So this is basically... No, this isn't it. Yes, it is. No. Yes. Yes, it is. I basically just have a massive enum with all the different abilities. I label them just so that if I do add something to the array, it doesn't, like, complain. I need to really prevent myself from swearing. This is, like, way too easy. I keep catching myself about to swear, but I keep forgetting I'm on YouTube. I shouldn't really be doing that. It's just too much of a part of my vocabulary at this point. But yeah, so I've got this enum, and I've set up a bunch of different kind of prerequisites kind of things, these attribute classes, which this one, for example, defines certain prerequisites. So, for example, with this one here, this dash upgrade, this can't be selected unless the upgrade is already unlocked. And the same with this dash 2 can't be unlocked. So I can't select this. I'm pressing enter right now. I can't select this until this is the one previous has been selected. And I could have done that with all sorts of fancy code and all that kind of stuff, but I just did it with this kind of attribute field, which I can basically just add at the beginning of anything. So say dash, say if I wanted to make it such that the dash can only be unlocked once I don't know, the wall jump has been unlocked, literally all I need to do is just add a tag here, which basically say, well, I'll just copy this, add this in, select the enum value of the ability that I want to add there. So in this case, it'd be wall jump. There we go. So just by adding that under any ability or defining anything at all, basically sets it such that I physically cannot select the ability unless the one listed in that prerequisite is already selected. So going forward, adding a new ability is really quick now. Like, I literally just copy this and then change the fields. If there's a prerequisite, stick it in, add the ability name, which is just what it'll be named as on the actual descriptor down the side here, because I want to be able to add spaces and things like that, so give them fancy names and all that palaver, and just naming it like AoE or having underscores because I can't put spaces in the actual code itself. So I've got that there that I can just kind of tweak around. And it also means that going forward, let's say I end up changing the name of this to like to blast, for example, I don't have to go into my code and completely change this. I can just leave it as AoE, make a mental note or add a little comment saying AoE is basically the blast ability. And I don't have to like refactor all my code just because I changed the name of something. But basically all I need to do is just add it here. And then I go into the UI skill tree, scroll down to the bottom, and I basically just make an unlock function, basically determine it, which will basically do all the checks, which is basically saying like, is it already unlocked? Have I got enough currency to do so? Is it basically stored in the save system already? And that kind of stuff. It'll do all sorts of those checks. And then if that all comes up true, it'll unlock the ability. Listed here, it'll save the fact that it is unlocked within my save system, so you know you can quit the game and still be able to do everything. And then the type of currency that you want to unlock it with, so whether it's a lesser ability point or just a regular one. So it's really easy to set up new abilities, but to get to the point where it is really easy for me to set up abilities, it was an absolute ball ache and took me like a month and a half. And yeah, here we are. I don't think I'm really qualified or it's even good enough to to justify making a tutorial on. Alrighty, I'm off to work. It was good chatting. It was lovely seeing you again, Barden. I hope to speak to you soon. Have a great day at work. Enjoy. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon, man. Have a good one. I made one game for Diamond's Game Jam. The thing is I can't code at all. Hello, Don at 2. Hello. Sorry, it's a bit late saying hello to you. I'm trying to work my way through these, through the comments. I think we're pretty much there now. Oh, happy days. Yeah, sorry about all the faff yesterday, because you joined the stream as I was testing it out. Yeah, that was I messed that up a little bit, didn't I? I made a bit of a mistake. Made a bit of an oopsie. But we're here. We're streaming. We got it working. Happy days. So yeah, G develop. Yeah, as I was saying, if you're like struggling with the whole learning to code, or you're seeing it as a pretty hefty barrier for entry, yeah, I'd recommend looking at something like G develop or something like that, because it's a lot more beginner friendly. You don't have to know as much at the beginning to get something working, because it's quite intuitive. You don't have to know all the terminology and stuff. So it's a great starting point. On Twitch and the yeah, just YouTube. I did want to dual stream, and I've got the capability to do it, minus my upload speed being awful. So yeah, I'm on like wireless internet in a student accommodation. It's not the best. So I only really have the bandwidth to actually stream on one platform. And because most of my community is on YouTube, I thought it's probably the best place to do it, really. How do I even learn programming? That's a very good question. And it's a very complicated question as well. It depends. It depends. It depends on what you want to get out of it. Like, do you want to be able to be fully competent at programming and be that, and have programming be the thing you do for game development, or do you want just enough of a knowledge base that you can make things work and you can spend and you can make games and you can get the stuff, but it be less efficient and it kind of like it work but kind of be strapped together? Because to make games you don't need that much of a knowledge base in programming. I mean, you look at Undertale. Like, Undertale is widely considered like an amazing game. Like, how many millions of copies have they sold? Like, insanely popular game. The code for that is awful. It's so bad. Like, the code for their narrative, their narrative script, they have every single phrase, every sentence that a character says in one single switch statement. Like, it's really bad, but it's still an amazing game. It doesn't detract from it in any way. You show that to a programmer, like a proper programmer, and they're like, this is awful, you should definitely not do it this way, but it works. It works well enough. They're able to use it to actually make the game and make an amazing game. But yeah, it depends what kind of what you want to learn programming for. If it's just to make games and you just want that knowledge base, I'd recommend just kind of looking at YouTube videos. Watch a bunch of YouTube videos, follow tutorials with a goal. Don't just watch them, like, go into it with a goal, follow along with the tutorials, but make sure you actually take time to understand what you are doing and why it is doing that thing. So say, for example, you're watching a tutorial, a Barden tutorial on, or not a Barden, yeah, a Barden tutorial works, or a Brackeys tutorial, because they're a good starting point, right? You follow the tutorial. It shows you how to make a combat system. It shows you how to do a swish, swash, and that's it. Follow that tutorial, but then after you've finished it, try using the knowledge you've just gained to add a new ability. Add another ability that can do the same thing, but without using the tutorial. Just referring to the code and trying to figure it out that way. It's basically like learn, follow along with something, and then apply that knowledge immediately in a slightly different way. And that's the way I learned. And I feel like I'm by no means the best programmer, but that's how I learned to do it. And I feel like I've got a pretty solid understanding. Like, I'm at a point where I can, for the most part, well, not even for the most part, I would be able to figure out most of the things I would need to do. Like, I can get there. It might take a while, but I can get it done. And that's the way I learned. And I'd say it took me about like 6 months to a year to get to like a semi-competent programming state. Like, granted, that was very sporadic. But yeah, like, that's the way I did it. I don't want to necessarily comment on the best way, because it very much depends on who you are, how you learn, and the context of what you want, like what you want to learn and why you want to learn it. But if we're talking about the context of you just want to make some games, you want to make little prototypes and things like that, I think YouTube tutorials are probably the best way to do that. Follow along and apply the knowledge as you learn it. My problem is I can code, but I can't do the art for the life of me. Honestly, me too. That's why I have amazing talent like Pen USB Mike and Hannah, because they are the experts. They know what to do. I can take their pretty things and make it look good in the context of my game, but I can't make the pretty things straight away. You know, like even the things with like the tile map, for example. Like Amber's Tale is it's very different for a pixel art game. It doesn't look like most pixel. I haven't seen another pixel art game that kind of looks like Amber's Tale. And I don't know if that's just because I haven't looked hard enough, but I feel like Amber's Tale's got a pretty unique kind of style. Not just artistically with the assets being used, but like how they are being used, you know? Because I'm not confined to the pixel grid. I'm very much keeping it free. I'm having everything kind of very free flowing, overlapping a lot of stuff. I've got blur with pixel art, which doesn't typically go together, but here we are. But yeah, I can't draw to save my life whatsoever. But yeah. I just noticed it's been going for over an hour. That's it. Oh my god, yeah, a minute? An hour and 16 minutes. And I've made absolutely zero progress. I've just been talking. Which I guess is the whole point of streaming at the end of the day, you know. I am new to streams. Me too. This is the first time I've properly streamed on it. Well, it's the first time I have streamed on this channel. So yeah, welcome. Hello. We're all sharing this experience together. It's fun. And we've been averaging like 10 to like 13 viewers. It's kind of crazy. I thought I'd be streaming to all of like 2 people today, but we've actually been able to have I've been talking the whole time. It's been great. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. If you want to program for programming's sake, Python is a good place to start. Yeah, exactly. Like if we're not looking at the context of like games and that kind of stuff, yeah, start with a soft programming language such as like Python or even Java is probably a better place to start. But yeah, again, it depends on your context. Do you want to make games? Do you want to be a software engineer? Do you want to really be a programmer? Do you want to just be a casual programmer but kind of dip your toes in other kind of departments? Like, yeah, it depends. But if you wanted to look into like software engineering, hashtag not sponsored, but there is a really good website. Oh, what's it called? They sponsor what's his name? Who's that WoW streamer? Or the WoW YouTube guy? Oh, I'm subscribed to them. Let me double check real quick. Duplicate turn. Where are they? Bellular. They sponsor Bellular all the time. All the time. Let me try and find this for you real quick, because it was a really good. They turned like learning to program into an RPG essentially, and I did like a little bit of a trial, and it's not for me in the way that like I don't want to be a software engineer. I very much prefer the design side of game development and that stuff. I learn how to code and I do enjoy it, but it's not what I want to do. But I've referred a couple of my friends who do want to do more software design and programming, and they've really enjoyed it. So let me see if I can find that. Learn to program an RPG. Is it Code Camp? Is this it? No. Top tier streaming right here. I don't know. Tell you what, I will put a pin in that, and I will, after the stream is done, I will try and find the link. I'll try and find the video where it's taken to, and I'll put a link in the Discord server, kind of showcasing that. Because if it is more software engineering, it's a really good place to start. But yeah, I mean, again, like Battlefront. What's Battlefront? I've heard of this. And if you're wanting... Are you saying you want... You saying you want to make a game like Star Wars Battlefront? Is that what you're saying right now? Because if that is the case, my... Is that what you're saying? You want to learn how to program a game like Star Wars Battlefront? Is that the question? Is that the question right now? I'm trying to find the original. How do I learn program? I mean, like Battlefront. Don't. Don't do that. Because I can guarantee, right? So it's a triple A game, right? It's EA. EA have made this. Who developed it? Pandemic Studios. There are going to be literally hundreds of programmers working on that game, and I can tell you for a fact, because it's it's something you find really quite common in especially in AAA games. You might think, oh, they've got lots of money going towards it, they've got a lot of people, that must mean their code is much better. Generally speaking, it's actually much worse, because you've got so many different coding styles and all that kind of stuff working on it. You've got different skill levels, you've got different like departments working. Generally speaking, bigger teams doesn't actually mean better game or better programming or better code quality. It's just a mismatch of everything. That's why so many different studios have to go through so many stages of refactoring, because their code, they've got so many people working on different bits, it becomes an absolute mess. But straight up, when if like low, like in the nicest possible way, lower your expectations, because you're not going to be able to make Battlefront. You won't. It took like what, 4 or 5 years for multiple teams, multiple companies to come together to make that game, and we're talking hundreds of people, and it still took them a very long time to do so. If you're on your own, or even a smaller team, you're not going to be able to make something like that. I don't recommend it, because going for something that big right at the beginning is going to put you off programming. You're not going to want to do it because it's so big. You really need to start small. One of my favorite acronyms is literally KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, keep things simple, keep things small at the beginning, work on the foundations and build yourself up. Starting with something like Battlefront, I can guarantee you, if you go ahead with that, with the goal being making something like Battlefront, in a year's time, you won't be doing this. Because you won't enjoy it. You'll struggle. It's going to be really hard, it's going to be too big of a commitment, and you'll probably give up. And that's nothing against you as a person, because you could be the most motivated person in the world, but doing something like that is just a recipe for just losing passion. 100%. Start small. Start with 2D, because it's easier. It's a whole less dimension to work with. Yeah, especially, exactly. Like, when you don't have the funding as well. You are working purely on your own will to work on this. It's start small, for sure. For sure. Art is easier than coding, to be fair. I don't know. I think there is... The learning curve is definitely steeper for programming. It's a lot easier to just kind of like put it this way. Anyone can pick up a pen and start drawing and will have a piece of art, right? But you start typing random letters and you start programming, it won't always work. 9 times out of 10 it won't. So I'd say the barrier for entry for programming is harder, but I feel like art is a lot more accessible, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say it's easier, I'd say it's more accessible. Where in the UK are you from? So I'm originally from Liverpool. I I don't really have much of the accent because I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I don't really like the Scouse accent. So I try to kind of mask it as much as possible, even though I lived there for like 17 years. I don't think I sound like a Scouser all that much. But now I live in the Midlands. I live in the literally right slap bang in the middle of the country. And I love it. But I do want to leave the UK. Ultimately, I do want to leave. Long term, like say for example, I make it big and I can work from home anywhere because I'm working on my own business, building Amber's Tale, building games, whatever that may be. I don't want to be in the UK doing that. I want to be in the mountains. I want to be in the forest. I'm like, being in the forest and mountains is my happy place, you know? Like, I think about where I want to be happy and at peace. For me, that's somewhere like Austria or Switzerland. Not necessarily because of the place itself, but because of the connection to nature, being able to walk out my door and be in a forest. Like, there's a reason Amber's Tale looks the way it is. It's my happy place. Amber's Tale is very much based on the kind of place I want to be in. Like, I build these forests, I'm building this world because it's what I genuinely am passionate about. Like, I feel safe and cozy and warm in these kind of environments. Obviously, I don't want the ghouls walking around, and I don't want to have to carry 2 twin swords with me constantly just to go down the road. But yeah, like, anywhere with mountains and somewhere I can go hiking, for sure. That's where I want to be. But to answer your question, Liverpool. Liverpool is where I'm from. Kiss. Learn by making a Suica clone. What is that? I'm like the most uncultured person ever. Oh, that game! Unironically, yeah, that's probably a good place to start. Something like that. Or like a basic 2D platformer. Like, nothing complicated, nothing like overly dynamic. You don't need to make the best code. But yeah, literally just start small, start 2D, something really simple. Again, Kiss. Keep it simple. Literally think of a really basic mechanic and just make a little prototype. Don't even make a game. You don't need a menu. You don't need a save system. You just need a game that you can just play. Whether it be dropping balls and it doing a bunch of stuff inside the bowl, that's a great place to start. For those who, I guess I should have shown what it is. This is the kind of game you'll have all have seen it. This kind of thing, like make this a game like this, epic, really good. That's a really good suggestion. Make something really simple, and that's why game jams are such a good place to actually learn, because you'll be given a really simple brief, and you've only got a couple days to make something really small. Like, game jams, honestly, I can't recommend them enough. If you're learning to do game development, do game jams. Do them. Like, you will... And do game jams with other people. Like, find a group of random strangers on the internet, join together, and do it. Yeah. It's amazing. Great place to meet people. Great place to make some friends. Good people, like-minded people who also want to do the same thing you do. And yeah, you can share your skills. Frog Soup, hi! Hello! I'm dying. I've not spoken so much in so long. I'm such an introvert, right? Like, I don't go out, so I don't really speak. I speak to my partner, and my partner talks a lot. I love her. And I love the fact she talks, because I'm very much, I prefer to be a listener. I like to listen. I don't really talk much, but yeah. Like, this is a lot. My voice is becoming quite raspy. Next devlog, you'll just hear me, like, panting. And, oh, what is J Rultimate? Oh my god, hi. Hello. Hello. Welcome to everyone. Oh my god, we got 16 viewers. Hello. That's like a lot of people. That's like a classroom of people. That's crazy. I said earlier, I was only expecting to be like, I expected to start streaming and there'd be like 2 people at most, and my grandma to be the other person and me. My grandma doesn't know how to work a laptop. She definitely wouldn't watch. But no, this is crazy. Hello. Let's get some hearts in the chat. Hello. Canada has lots of mountains. Come here. Unironically, like, yes, Canada is somewhere that is kind of on my radar as well. The only thing that it doesn't necessarily put me off Canada, right? The only thing that is like more of a detractor for Canada, for me moving over somewhere in Europe, is that it is like, once you're on that side of the planet, it costs an absolute fortune to go anywhere else other than like America and like that kind of stuff. Like, going from America to Europe is really expensive and it's quite far. Whereas if I stay in Europe, I could just get the train somewhere, you know? It's a lot more accessible because my partner and I really like to travel as well a lot. And I want, if I'm going to be living somewhere like that, it definitely needs to be a bit more accessible to a few different places, you know? But Canada definitely is beautiful. It's definitely something, especially Aspen. Aspen is like beautiful. It's got those multicolored trees. It's got skiing. I've never been skiing, but I like the idea of going skiing. That sounds fun. It sounds entertaining. I'd definitely do that. But no, Canada is definitely there. But I need to learn more. It's definitely something I'm going to travel to, for sure. I'll have to hit you up when I do come that side of the pond. Go for a coffee. What do Canadians go for coffee? Is that something you do? I don't know. What are the Canadian stereotypes? I know that you're all polite. That's like the main stereotype for Canadians, isn't it? That you're all very polite, but are you mad coffee consumers? Like, what's the what do Canadians do? You know? What is the Canadian unique selling point? Is, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. Never caught a dev stream for a game like this. I'm making a little Silksong demo remake right now. Oh my god, that's awesome. Let me check your channel. Putting you on the spot. Let me see what your Silk's saying. Have you got anything for it? Doesn't look like you've got... Have you? Okay, no, that's your Path of Pain. Doesn't look like you... Have you got anything for the Silksong? No, it's all Geometry Dash stuff. Fair enough. Let me know when you've got stuff like that. Maple syrup. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As soon as you said that, like, yeah, maple syrup, of course. Polite, hockey, coffee, poutine. I love a bit of poutine. I love poutine. I can't believe I forgot about maple syrup. You've basically got... Haven't you got, like, a maple leaf on your flag or something? No, you don't. You don't have that, do you? Canadian... You do have a maple leaf on your flag. I knew I wasn't making that up. I'm really bad with like flags and stuff, but yeah, of course. Maple syrup. You've got maple trees everywhere. I do love a bit of maple syrup. I made this really mean maple syrup like glazed chicken a couple of weeks ago. Chef's kiss. It was very, very nice. Might do that today actually. I got some chicken drumsticks to make. It's on the flag. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I had to double check because I was just like, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm like so sure. But you know when you just doubt yourself, you know, especially when you're live. I can't embarrass myself like this. I can't showcase to you all that I'm actually like really bad at general knowledge. I'm actually a bit of an idiot. I can't be showcasing that, you know. But I am a bit of an idiot. Oh, that's awesome though. I love the fact that you're making a Silksong demo. That's so cool. I can't wait for that game to come out. I can't wait to copy like all their mechanics and put it in Amber's tile. Joking, of course. I promise. But maybe a little bit. We'll see. Vampire Survivors clone. Oh, wait. No, I skipped this one. Actually, do you still plan on making a Lazy Studios? Yes. I do plan on it. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't feel like... See, the issue... I don't feel like I've got enough of a following that I would get that many entrants, you know? And I don't want it to be a case where, like, I put it up and, like, 3 people enter. Like, not because it's like, boo, only 3 people entered, but, like, I feel like if there are less people doing it, less people are incentivized to actually, like, give it a go, you know? So I'd want it to be quite a community-driven effort. I'd want to make sure that people come together, that you can work together in teams, and I don't want to have to, like, I don't want to restrict people in that way. So, like, it's definitely something I want to do. I just need to... I don't know. I might just give it a go at some point. Maybe sometime in the new year. Just give it a go, you know? But in the meantime, I'm definitely, at the very least, going to be notifying you when I start doing some game jams myself. Because I would want to set up, like, a little team of... partake in a game jam as the Lazy T community, you know? Like, get a small handful of people and we'll all just come together. We'll spend the weekend making a game for another YouTuber's game jam, for example. I think that could be a good mid-ground for the time being, while my following is still quite small. Like, because I know we've got, like, we're approaching 3,000 subscribers, but... Like, it's 3,000 subscribers, but is that, like, 3,000 active community members? It's not. So it's, yeah. I really want to make sure that when I do it, there's a strong sense of collaboration, and you can't really do that with not that many people, if that makes sense. But yeah, Vampire Survivors is a great first place to go. Yes, 100%. Copy Vampire Survivors. You don't even have to, like... The thing is, whenever you make, like, your first game, don't be original. Like, just copy someone else's game. It's not like you're going to be putting it on Steam and selling it. Like, you really should make a few, really crappy games. Like, your first game is always going to be bad. It's going to be. Nobody in the history of ever has, made it with their first game. No one. It's a learning curve. It's a really steep learning curve. So just, yeah, make a really crappy game. Make it really simple, something like Vampire Survivors or a basic platformer, and just copy someone. You don't have to come up with a unique mechanic or anything like that. That comes later down the line when you're actually making your first, commercial game. You need to think of unique selling point and how you can market it and all that kind of stuff. But when you're learning, just copy someone. Literally just copy it. Take some art assets from, itch.io, or PenUSB Mike has some amazing ones, I hear. Free advertisement. Yeah, check out their itch.io page, literally, and make a really crappy game, because that's the best place to start. Don't try too hard, enjoy the process, learn the basics, and yeah, just get going with it. It's once you get started, you can't stop. It's a snowball. It'll all just compound. It'll all compound. They straight up drink maple syrup. Is this true? Can you confirm, Brandon? Do you straight up just drink? Do you take it neat? Maple syrup over ice. Is this what happens? We got hockey. Yeah. Hockey's a very Canadian thing, that's true. We say sorry non-stop. And yes. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I think that kind of comes hand in hand with polite there. I feel like British people are very much the same, depending on where you go. Definitely Scousers. People from Liverpool, we have a bit of a reputation for being a bit scary. For being a bit aggressive, let's say. But Scouse people are incredibly polite. Incredibly. We hold the door open for everyone. We'll say sorry for bumping into you. It could be your fault. But I will apologize to you, because I'd rather not have the confrontation. I 100% agree with the traveling thing. It sucks being on this side of the pond. My wife and I travel to Europe a couple times a year. Was just Scotland. We'd definitely move there if we didn't have kids. Ah, screw the kids. Come anyway. Just leave them there. It's fine. Start a new life. Go to Europe. Have a midlife crisis. Just abandon your kids and then come over. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. Yeah. That's the thing, because my partner and I like to say we're still pretty young. I think we are pretty young still. We're in our mid-20s. I'm 25 now, so I feel like I'm still young enough that, I can still do the whole traveling thing. Because we don't want kids yet. I still don't know if I really want kids, you know. I'm in that really weird mindset. I think I do want kids. I like the idea of having children. I just don't think I'm like in the right frame of mind to be a good parent now. And I don't think I want to have kids unless I know that I would be a good father. And I feel like I've definitely got the capacity to be a good father. I'm just not there yet. You know, I want to make sure that my life is kind of, I don't know, it's a bit idealistic to say, like, I want to make sure that I'm financially stable and all that kind of stuff, because life happens, like things get in the way. But I don't know. I like the idea of having kids, but I don't think I'm ready yet. I really don't. I don't know. And I think that anyone can say that, but yeah. I don't know. But no. I do really like the idea of going to Europe. I think Canada would be somewhere that I'd like retire to, if that makes sense. Like I'd want to travel Europe once I've got that kind of travel urge out of me, and I've gone to all the places I want to go, and I'm ready to like slow down a little bit in life. Like that's kind of when I'd go to somewhere like Canada, you know. But in the meantime, while I'm still young, yeah. Yo, hey, someone, hello, how you doing? Yo, I thought this was bloody dev stream, innit? well, yeah, this is a dev stream talking about the fact I'm not ready to be a father. Yeah, honestly, this was going to be a dev stream, but this has kind of turned into, we're just chatting. We're having a bit of a gib gab. Like, I'll probably start, because I'll still probably be streaming for another hour and a half or something or other, so we'll get a bit of work done. But it's just been really nice having a chat with everyone, to be perfectly honest. This is the first time that we've been able to actually have a live stream, sit down and actually talk rather than just sending messages back and forth. And it's been really, it's been pretty good. But yeah, how are you? It's so expensive here. Yeah, where isn't it expensive these days? The price of Freddos have gone up by so much. Like, do you know what a Freddo is? I don't know if like Freddos are like a universal thing, or if you just find them in the UK. But here in Britain, there's this little chocolate frog that we basically use to measure how expensive things are. When I was young, you could get a Freddo for 10p. It's near enough 50p for a Freddo now. And that just shows like how expensive things have got. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. My favourite thing about Celeste was how it used the Canadian flag for my English language, despite the fact it was despite being a bilingual country. Yeah, isn't it English and French for the most part in Canada? Are they the two most spoken languages? I'm pretty sure it's English and French, isn't it? Yeah, I'd absolutely love to go to Canada though, 100%. LTS community makes a mess on GitHub while making game jam. Oh, honestly, could you imagine? Could you imagine? I think it'd be really cool to, instead of like hosting a lazy for now, instead of hosting a lazy game jam, like to take part in a game jam as the lazy community. I think that would be a bit different, bit of a different approach on things. Yeah, it has been a long old time that you've not been on Discord for as much. Crazy. But it's good to see you. It's always good to have you here, someone. Always. That's why I stopped streaming. It wasn't very productive. True. But the thing is, right, it depends on your context of productivity. When it comes to making the game, yeah, God, this is going to be terrible. Absolutely terrible. But in the context of I'm using streaming as a way to like engage with the community and build that kind of relationship and that kind of stuff, it's extremely productive. Like the fact that I've been able to sit here and talk to many different members of the community, many different members, people that I haven't even really spoken to before. I've been able to sit here and have a talk for near enough 2 hours constantly, and I haven't been able to do any game development because we've all been talking. I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And it's something I really want to have. Like, there'll probably be certain streams where maybe I do, like, maybe what you did, where we just sit. Maybe I don't talk as much and I just live stream the development of the process. But yeah, I don't know. It's something I definitely need to figure out. But for the context of like productivity of actually designing the game and actually making progress, yeah, this is definitely terrible. I'm seeing a bit of a problem here. But no, this has been really fun. This has been really fun. And now I think I've caught up with my messages. Yeah, I think I'm all up to date. Imagine that. So, I might actually be able to get some work done. Whoa! Imagine. So yeah, as I said, like right at the beginning of the stream, the idea of the stream was that I was going to do a bit of a, going to work on a little bit of a level design, showcasing some little bits and bobs, basically going through my workflow of how I'd actually go about setting up a actual a level, essentially. And the start of that is obviously just mapping out where everything goes. So we've got this little section here, which corresponds to not this. If I go back here, let's condense all this down. Scene 1. Let's load that up. This little line right here. This is this little block right there. Can you see the similarity? Can you see the resemblance? This square and that block. There we go. That's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. In fact, let me move this up here like that. There we go. And then we're going to come along and we're going to add this room, which is probably about like, it's probably like that, really, isn't it? In fact, let's bring this here just so it's a bit, I think, like, to be fair, I think this needs to be a little bit, this needs to be a bit shorter, doesn't it? It needs to be more like that. There we are. Obviously, I'm being very pedantic here with actually getting this set up. What? Game dev in a dev stream? I know. Imagine. How dare I actually do some game development in a game development stream? Honestly, like, you should just stop watching now. I've betrayed you all. So, like, what's the point? What's the point? Please don't leave. Please. I like having you here. But yeah, so we've got that going there. So it's kind of like planning out, well, where do I want the other rooms to be? What do I want the character flow to be? All that kind of stuff. So, for example, right now, this is where the player starts. Let's do that. So that's where the player starts. And we've got some little hidden rooms, so I'll maybe annotate that with a little grey box or something, because this is technically it. Nope, not that. As you can see, I am in fact a professional. I do know what I'm doing, I promise. You can see that's kind of the this part of the room, which is technically a hidden room. It's not very well hidden. Oh, I've started this while I've still got 2 things open. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, bunch of errors. Who's surprised? It's not me. Let's remove that scene. There we go. If we actually load just one scene at a time, it works. How crazy is that? But yeah, this cave is technically a hidden room, but not really. So you'd start the whole journey over through here. It should turn to nighttime. Yeah, I need to fix that bug. I've got the day-night cycle set up, but it doesn't like properly work. But it is what it is. So the game starts like round here. Okay. Now, one of the things I do want is I want to be able to actually have a little room to the left here, because it's a thing you need to have in Metroidvanias, right? Yeah, you need to have some hidden rooms, and one of them needs to be in the left right at the beginning. So where can I put that? How can I get that done? But you'll start here. There'll be a little bits of tutorial. It'll show you how to attack by getting rid of that door. You'll be introduced to a little enemy. You'll take damage. And you'll come down here. I'll teach you how to dodge, because you've got iframes when you dodge, so it's good for combat. I'm probably gonna make it so the ghoul has like 3 health rather than 4, because it's a bit it's a bit much. I could even have a little hidden room down here. Like there's so many options. Here you'll be kind of taught about how the fact you can jump, the fact that you can mantle. When this enemy isn't here, this enemy isn't actually meant to be here. It won't be in the final game. Oh dear, I died. I'm a professional. Yeah. But then you'll come through here. I've got the camera system set up wrong down this room. Bear with me. This is what happens when you do some like testing of certain scripts, but then you don't fix it again afterwards. So I need this to be active and this to not be active, and I need to move the player into this screen region. There we go. Hidden rooms. I'm getting Hollow Knight flashbacks. Oh boy. it's almost like Hollow Knight is one of the main inspirations for for Amber Style. Mad. I'm really looking forward to Silk Song. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. But yeah, I want a lot of hidden rooms, and just different things to make the gameplay just a bit more dynamic. I want exploration to be a really big part of this game. With all the backtracking and obviously having the skill tree system, backtracking and maybe getting certain skills and then coming back and being able to find different things, and having the day-night cycle such that, well, if you come back to the same place, but it's actually nighttime, for example, there being something else that you can discover there, depending on the time of day that you come. All that kind of stuff is really like a primary focus for me for the design of this game, for sure. Yeah, the left room is legally required. Exactly. Like I when I initially launched the Kickstarter, I did a live stream with Relia. You know, that Hollow Knight streamer, which was absolutely crazy. It was so cool to actually like play with them and to sit down and talk to them in a call, like as a fan of them. It was really awesome to sit and actually talk about my game and have them play my game and talk about it. It was really cool. But in the demo, naturally, there wasn't a hidden room to the left, and he had a go at me for it. He told me off. Understandably so, but yeah, we didn't have that. And the thing is, this hidden room I'm not going to have the door here. What's actually going to happen, the way this is actually going to be functioning, is the hidden door disappears, and these destroyable crates are going to be down here, just barely visible. Because earlier in the previous room, you discover that you can attack crates and they will be destroyed, right? So you're coming along here, and the natural way to progress, because the gameplay flow, you're down here, naturally you jump, you end up continuing upwards. That's the natural progression format. Most people going through this will continue going upwards. But you can see in the corner of my eye, there's some crates there. I know that if I attack crates, they get destroyed. So most people come along and they'll attack the crates, and they'll be like, well, there's nothing here. The camera isn't moving. They'll continue through, and boom! There'll be a little ding-a-ling-a-ling, and yeah, you've got this little hidden room, and there'll be something at the top up here. Something or other that you're able to do. So yeah. And I've got a really cool camera switch system in place, which is really, really helpful for doing this kind of stuff. So if I go to camera, I've got triggers here, and here it is. So I basically drop this anywhere, and whenever the player crosses over this collider, it will literally switch the different cameras that are active at the same time. Because I'm using Cinemachine, so I've got multiple virtual cameras. So it'll switch to this one that is locked to the caves. So you're able to like dynamically change and have these different hidden rooms blocked. Because the main camera, it's got a cut off here. The actual barrier, if I load up the boundary for the main area, is here. So the camera is never going to show any of this unless you cross this threshold and it switches to this other camera, which will only show this stuff. Really, really easy way to make it really quite hidden. But naturally, the rest of the hidden rooms, this one is like a hidden room. I want you to find this, and I want you to discover that there are places that are hidden that you can discover by doing various different things. But there will be some hidden rooms that are hard to find, very purposefully. Like, one of the main design philosophies that I want is I want people to be playing this game in a year's time, or after I've released it, I want people to still be discovering hidden rooms in a year's time after the release. That's how hard to find I want certain things to be. Nothing required for getting certain achievements and that kind of stuff. I don't want to lock and gate people away from doing that stuff. But yeah. I want to really hide some Easter eggs, because I think it'd be really, really cool. How did you get the debug FPS on your screen? I can show you that, and I can provide you with the script, because it's a really easy script. What I'll do, where is it? It's going to be in a canvas. So I've basically got a canvas setup, so a UI element, which is the FPS counter here. So it's a canvas, all the normal canvas stuff, and it's got this FPS counter script. So I basically have a Text Mesh Pro element attached underneath. I've assigned that in the script here, and this is what the script is. I'll just load it up for you here. Really, really simple. Literally just defining the actual Text Mesh Pro. So saying that this text is the one I want to be updating. This is the one that is showing on the UI. And then in the update, we're literally just doing this. And this is basically updating the Text Mesh Pro. So the text to basically display a string in this format. So that's why it's showing like what it is. And to display the FPS. So if you literally just like screenshot this, add this as a add this script to your game, attach it or assign a Text Mesh Pro UI element. So if I press F on this, it should take us to the UI thing. Next, if I actually activate this, you can see it's here. It's literally just a UI element with a canvas, or it's a canvas with a Text Mesh Pro attached there, and that script running. That's all it is. Really, really easy. Really, really easy. You can set it up. I have a don't destroy on load thing. That's completely up to you. That's basically so when I switch between different scenes, it's always going to be there. But you don't need this for your games. You can just literally just having this script. That's all you need. Really, really easy. So yeah, you can just pause that, copy it all over, and yeah, really, really easy. Nice. Silksong is fake. Oh, I know. It's never gonna come out. Sorry, I'm like getting snivels. I have not talked this much in so long. It feels like my nose is blocking because I'm talking that much, you know? So I do apologize if I'm starting to get a bit nasally. Oh yeah, Relia, or whatever he was called. I've been away for quite some time, so I've forgotten a lot. Yeah, Relia. Yeah, honestly, like they're one of the biggest like Hollow Knight streamers. Once Silksong comes out, they are going to pop off. I tell you now, because most of their fan base are with them for Hollow Knight, right? Because you look at their videos, they've done other stuff and covered other like indie Metroidvanias and stuff, and their videos aren't as popular, but their demographic is Hollow Knight. Once Silksong comes out, if it ever comes out, Relia is going to explode. Absolutely explode. He's going to get so many subscribers. He's going to get so many views. He's going to pop off. He's going to be one of the go-to. He's going to be like one of the guys that you go to. Up there with what's his name? Fire something or other. Absolute pop off. I'm using a perspective parented on an orthographic camera. I'm using a very complicated system. The way I've got mine, like this, all of this stuff here, from here to here, is my camera setup. Like, there's a lot to it. I'm not gonna lie. There's an awful lot to it. In fact, there's more. All of this controls my camera. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I do use perspective camera though. I use a perspective camera rather than orthographic because it means I can do this. See how all the different layers, if I turn the lighting off, you'll be able to see it a bit easier. I can offset the different layers, and by using a perspective camera instead of an orthographic, I don't have to attach any code to all of this. Fireborn. There we go. I don't have to attach any code to the actual objects themselves in order to make it such that the camera will move. Or, like, you get that perspective parallax effect. Because if I wanted the parallax effect using an orthographic camera, so the fire alarm's going off? It might be a test. I'm just going to mute real quick. I'll give it like a second just in case it's a test. See, the issue is the fire alarms here go on for a while when they test it. So this could still be a test. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to give it another, like, 20 seconds. Alright, lads, my building might be burning down, so I'm gonna just be right back. I'm gonna keep the streamer up, just in case, because there are people in the reception, so this should get sorted pretty quickly. But, yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, evacuate real quick, because the building might be burning down. So I'm gonna switch it over to a be right back. Hopefully I won't be too long, but, yeah, fingers crossed. I will, once I get back, if we're still here, I'll go over my camera system and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll be back in a bit, guys. BRB. Right, so as soon as I unlocked the door, exited my apartment, and locked the door, the fire alarm stopped. So I'm most likely not going to die. I'm probably not going to be burnt down now. So either that was a really, really long test, or they just sorted it really quickly. I don't know. Either way, I'm probably not in any immediate danger. So that's always a good starting point. We like not being in immediate danger. But yeah, I'm going to take like 2 minutes just because standing up made me realize I need the toilet. So I'm going to be back in like 10 seconds. It's going to be more than 10 seconds. I'll be back in like a minute. I'm just going to get another drink, go to the loo, and I'll be right back with you. And we're back. All refreshed. I have some liquid energy in hand. And yeah. Where were we? Yeah, so to summarize, I'm not dying, my house isn't on fire, and it was a really, really long fire drill. A really long fire drill. Don't know why that lasted so long. Usually, like generally speaking, a fire drill like that should be at the same time pretty much every week. And it should go on for all of like 10 seconds usually. Don't know why that one lasted almost like 3 minutes. 3 minutes! But anyway, it's all okay. House fire stream, honestly. Wouldn't that be? I just switched to my phone, I'll just go to POV. You just see the building that I was streaming in just burning down. That would be... yeah, that would be a thing. That would be a thing. Can't wait to see the Silksong speedrun. It's going to be insane. I can't wait for Silksong. I can't wait to see Silksong, period. Like, I'm really excited. I really want to play that game. So bad. I'm a little bit biased, obviously, because, you know, I'm making a Metroidvania myself. So I kind of have to love Hollow Knight. Not even have to love, I do love Hollow Knight. I don't have to love it at all. I do love Hollow Knight. Yeah, also, how weird does Amber's Tale look when you don't have the lighting effects? Look at that. The difference it makes. It's crazy. Crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Looks like a completely different game. But yeah, I really can't wait. I'll probably stream Hollow Knight. I'll probably stream playing that on here. Why not? You know, it's relevant. Like, playing Metroidvanias is like, it's part of, it's research. It's not just something I really enjoy doing, but like, I'm actively researching and continuing development myself. Like, while I'm playing these things, while I'm playing these games, I'm looking at them and I'm analyzing them. What can I do here? What can be done differently, you know? Yeah, there is a crazy difference. I don't know if I'm able to turn off the lighting like in-game as I play. I'm not 100% sure if I can. Well, I mean, technically, that's a lie. I can. If I set all these to white, and then I set this to global. There we go. This is the way the game looks when there's no lighting. No lighting effects. It looks so bad. It just look bad, like, but it doesn't look as good. Yeah, there's definitely some room for improvement there. I mean, technically the background looks a little bit different. The background's not technically true, but yeah, this is Amber's Tale without all the lighting effects. It's a bit different. It's a bit of a stark contrast, isn't it? And then we stop, and then we do it all again. Load it back up, and then we're back. Isn't that mad? How mad is that? Crazy. Crazy difference. Lighting in video games. So important. So important. I always love it when the building isn't going to burn down in flames. I know, right? It's like one of my favorite things, when the building in which I live and all my worldly possessions are doesn't burn down. I love that. I love it when that doesn't happen. Yes, yes, I am alive. Alive and well. Well, I guess well is a very subjective frame of reference, really, isn't it? But yes, I'm alive. I am kicking. This could be a mod, Amber's Tale without lighting. I know. Honestly, though, like Amber's Tale like that. In fact, can I set that up real quick? Because I'll show you the main reason you unironically might want to do that, right? Like, one reason why doing that might actually be a good thing. Okay? So we can see here, granted, this isn't an accurate representation as to what the frame rate and stuff is going to be like, because I'm running it in editor. So because I'm running things in editor, it's a lot laggier. If I were to build this game and then run it independently, the frame rate will be a lot higher. You'll probably be looking at close to like 150, 200 frames per second. But you can see I'm hovering in and around 100 to 110 kind of frames a second, right? Kind of in that ballpark, okay? If we come over here and we adjust all this lighting, so we'll turn it all to white. In fact, we don't even need that. In fact, no, we do need all these. Do that, set it all to white. And then we set them all. Oh no, in fact I don't. So the cave ones can go. That's a cave one. All these can be turned off. These all get set to global lights. In fact, I don't even think. Yeah, I think they still need to be on the layers. They get set to global lights. I'd have to do some bits in the post-processing and set up the cameras. Like, for example, I can disable this camera. Yes, it's not going to show the background, but the main difference here is the fact that the background would still get rendered. It would just be rendered on this camera instead. Then as soon as we kind of go into the game, you can see the FPS has jumped up massively. Like, a massive contributing factor of that was disabling that secondary camera. But the point of the matter is, like, there's so much I can do to make this game much more performant. Like, even just disabling that second camera. Granted, yes, now you can't see the background, but in this performance mode, where I dull down a lot of the lighting effects, and I basically render all the background and everything, you're not going to get that additional blur. Or I can, because I can do it through a shader. Or I guess what I should say is the blur won't look as good. It will still look good. It won't look as good. I've doubled the frame. I've doubled the FPS. Like, it's a massive difference. Like, I could make this game a lot more performant, and I will do. But I personally believe that the game looks better with these additional modifications. I like the post-processing. I like the lighting. And I like having those separate blur layers, because I can adjust them all independently. I can add different fog, different post-processing effects, and all that kind of stuff. I think it makes a big difference. Or I guess the argument is it makes a small difference, but those small differences compound and make a big difference overall. One of my main mantras when it comes to game design and building this game is I like to focus on those little things, those little nuanced engagements, those little interactions, and those little elements. Like, even the fact that as you're walking, these little bushes, they do a little bounce as you step over them. That's such a tiny little detail. But when you compound all those tiny little details together, it makes a huge difference to the overall feel of the game. And I like to focus on those little things. Not as in, like, I focus on them hardcore, and it's like, because if you focus too much on the little things, you never get the game made. But I like to focus on those little things because I think those little things make a massive difference. Sometimes, in the long run, making a bigger difference to the game feel than adding entire mechanics. And that's something I really want to really like lean on for making Amber's Tale feel good. I feel like it already looks good. I feel like it runs well enough. I feel like the soundtrack is phenomenal. I want it to feel good. I want it to feel good to play. Yeah, the difference is crazy, mate. Take screenshot. This could be an actual mod. Honestly, like, I think it will be at some point. I'll definitely add some kind of features where you can switch in between all these different bits and bobs. The man with the toaster running at 3 frames per second. Well, it's good to know it isn't. Yeah, I mean, unironically, like, who was it who made a computer out of the toaster? Wasn't it Jonas Tyroller, or Honus? I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. They made an actual computer out of a toaster. I want Amber's Tale to be able to run on that computer. That's when I know it's performant enough, you know? But yeah, exactly. I'm going to be adding all these features, like being able to disable all these effects. Unironically, I am actually going to be implementing once I actually sit down and set up the settings menu, because like it's easy enough to like, oh, I can just switch these off and blah blah blah. It's actually, there's a lot more to it when actually setting up the actual framework for getting that justified. because it's not a case of just unticking a few boxes. I then need to actually adjust every single one of these trees has a certain layer on them, which basically dictates like the fact you can actually see it on a certain camera. So it's a case of changing all those layers. Well, then I also need to change the sorting layer so that it's actually viewable on that other camera again. Then I need to make it change I need to change the color ever so slightly so it actually looks good and proper without all the post-processing and things like that. So, and that's just a tree. I need to do that for every item in the game. So it's gonna be a big issue to overhaul, but like it'll make a big difference. Like, in theory, you will be able to play Amber's Tale very smoothly on a pretty low-end PC. Ideally, that's what I want to be able to happen. I want you to. I don't want you to have like a solid computer. Honestly, unironically, my goal is to make it so that, you know, those really like shoddy work laptops that you would get, or like when you're in school and you've got like a really like, it's a bit of a crappy school computer. It doesn't really run anything except Microsoft Word. If I can get Amber's Tale to run reasonably, like well enough that you can play it on one of those computers, I've done my job well. And that's the goal. That's the goal. If you focus on the little things, you don't get the game made. Maybe that's why Silksong is still non-existent. The difference is they have a game. They have a game, and they are focusing on the little things. They did the big things first, and then focused on the little bits, whereas I'm kind of procrastinating the big things by doing the little ones. Mr. Comps, hello. How are you doing? How are things with you? Gotta be able to play without trading pizza for a PC. Right, don't at me like that. I'll have you know, I have a different PC now. I'm no longer on that PC. For context, DJ Wignall is a friend of mine. One of my oldest. I think, unironically, you are my oldest friend. As in, like, that I still reasonably enough keep in touch with. Because I know we don't talk often. But I think, unironically, you are my oldest friend that I still keep in touch with. I don't think I know anyone else longer than I've known you now that I still talk to. I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're officially my oldest friend now. How does that feel? How does that feel? But yeah, for context, this is going back many. This is probably going back almost a decade actually. I was building my own PC, and Dan, DJ Wignall, sold me some of his spare parts from his old PC for a Domino's pizza and a bottle of Fanta. Yeah, I got pretty much my first gaming PC for the cost of a Domino's pizza and a bottle of Fanta. And it's because of this man right here. Legend. At least not as old as I. No, not as in like old as in like you are old. But as in I've known you for the longest amount of time. I don't speak to any of my friends anymore. I don't have friends. Any advice on getting started and learning to code? I kind of spoke about this earlier. It might be worth. It was about an hour ago. I went on like a full-on half-an-hour rant about this. Not a rant. It was like I just spieled. I went out of control and just talked for about half an hour on it. So it might be worth going back and just double-checking that. But the TLDR is, it depends. It depends on what you actually want to achieve. Are you wanting to learn to program and make games? Are you wanting to do more software design and software engineering? Or are you wanting to be a fully fledged programmer for making games? Or do you just want to make games in the context of, you know, enough programming to make something work, and that's all that matters to you? It depends on the context. What kind of context would you like? Like, what do you want to learn to program? What do you want to learn to know? If you don't know how to read Cyril, is the above name pronounced as Vasil or Vasil? Yeah, I actually I know a little bit of Russian, or Baltic languages anyway. My partner is Latvian, so I've been I've been learning a little bit of Russian, a little bit of Latvian. So I do understand the characters anyway. I do know the alphabet. My pronunciation is absolutely atrocious, and I don't know that much. But I do know the alphabet at the very least. But yeah, I'm learning Russian because Latvian, like my partner being Latvian, all our family do speak Russian. Just because of where it is and that kind of stuff. I know Kirill is Kirill. Yeah, I read it in British. Like I'm in default, I'm in like English mode. I'm in default English mode, so that's why I read it. Hello, I'm late. No, you're just on time. You're just in time. We've been streaming for about like, oh my god, we've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Well, I say stream. I've done absolutely no work for context. I've done no work. I was going to do a dev stream. It's just turned into a let's chat stream. We've been talking for 2.5 hours, chatting with everyone in the community, answering questions and get to know you all. So no, hello, welcome. If you've got any questions about Amber's Tale, life, the universe, and everything in it, feel free to ask. I'm here. I'm at your disposal. But yeah, my partner's Latvian, so I've been learning a bit of Russian. I'm really bad at it. The grammar and everything, it's really hard. Like as a native English speaker, and it being like pretty much the only language I know, like adapting to learning Russian has been really, really difficult because it's just structured so different. Like it's really hard to do. That's not true. You drew some boxes and the fire alarm. That is true. The fire alarm did go off and I almost burnt down. That would have been an entertaining stream. This is true. A lot did happen. I didn't give myself enough credit there. I did draw some boxes. If you want to see the boxes, ready? I drew some boxes. And I shaded half of them in. And I drew a little plus icon to indicate where the player starts. Honestly, this is unironically the most productive I've been when developing this game this entire week. Unironically. So, cheers. I really appreciate all the questions that you've answered over the course of the stream. Super helpful for getting insight on making a game. I'm also making one. Oh, thank you so much. Again, I take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just because it's the way I've done it doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. It's the way I learned, and it's worked well enough for me. But yeah. Like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just because it worked for me doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. There might be a better way. But, yeah. Yeah. Then you wouldn't understand nobody's thing from our language. Yeah, like, honestly, like, I find languages beautiful, right? I love learning different languages, right? And I love listening to other languages. And I love the differences. The fact that, like, different languages just... they function so independently. Like, there's a lot of certain common traits, like when you look at like Baltic languages, for example, they share a lot of traits with how the grammar and the language is structured. And the same with like more European, like French, Spanish, German. They all share traits, but they are different in their own way. And depending where in the world you go, like everything is just so different. But it's fascinating stuff. It really is fascinating stuff. But yeah, there are some languages that I'm just not gonna get anything of. And like, I really struggle with like body language and like interpreting people generally. So like, not only am I not understanding your words, I'm not gonna understand what's going on, period. Like, honestly, I'd be absolutely terrible with that stuff. That's true, but in game dev, if it works, it's good, even if it's not the best solution. Exactly. For the most part, as long as it works and it isn't like causing your computer to explode, it's good enough. Like, as I said earlier, use what's it called? Undertale. Undertale is one of the best like references for like learn to program or any of that stuff. It's one of the more successful games of the past few years. Incredible game, incredible narrative. The code is it's a pile of poop. It's a pile of caca. It's really not good. Like every single one of every single dialogue, every single bit of narration is in a single switch statement. One. Every single piece of narrative in that entire game is in a single switch statement. That is bad coding practice, but it doesn't matter because it works. It works. Like, would I want to like be editing that and doing that kind of stuff? No, but at the end of the day, if it works for the developer, it works. And they made the game, they released it. And yeah, yo, my man said caca. Exactly, it's poopy caca. Poopy caca. Poo poo. Poo poo. Yeah, you don't use one switch statement. Not good. See, I know some Latvian. And I do understand saying poopy poopy. Or poo 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 poo. But still, it's funny when you say poopy caca. Poo 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 poo. But yeah, at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Until you refactor, then technically you're fixing it. But still, like, you just need something to work for the most part. Because you can always come in later. After you've made the game, you can always go in and optimize it afterwards. But the thing is, as you learn and as you develop more, the thing is, I could go back to some of the code I made a year ago for this game even, and I could make it better now, 100%. But I don't need to, because it still works. If I need to add something hefty, or I need to really customize, or like customize something that I've already made, then yeah, I might refactor it, I might remake it. But for the most part, for now, it works. Unless I have to make some major changes to how it actually functions, there's no point going back and changing it. Because it works, it's reasonably performant, so yeah, leave it be. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sony's been making a fan game. That's pain. Which I swear I've lost track of like everything I've spoken about. The last 2.5 hours is an absolute blur. What is pain? I need the context here. I've forgotten I don't even know what I was talking about for the last 2 minutes. So yeah, I wonder how you responded when you heard there is no the in Russian. Honestly, it's not even like the one there isn't any one specific thing that like threw me with Russian. I mean, that is definitely it. I mean, the fact that is definitely a big contributor, but it wasn't like, oh, there was never any point where I was learning Russian. It was like, oh, the realization that the word "the" does not exist. It was just like this is just weird. I'm so used to padding out my language, my vocabulary with all these words that don't really need to exist. The fact that like I could say like I don't know, this is the doctor, for example. Like, this is the doctor, right? In English, it's 4 words. In Russian, it's just "Это доктор." It's 2 words. They have half the amount of words, and it means the exact same thing, contextually. It makes so much sense. I actively prefer that. I prefer that, like, that like, grammar structure. It makes so much more sense to me, because I'm a very logical person. I am very logic-ridden. It just has to make sense, right? That makes sense to me. But I've been speaking English for 25 years of my life, right? I'm just so stuck in my ways. Being a British person as well, I'm just stubborn. I just use the word "the" these days, and it's just I can't wrap my head around it. It's really, really hard, because it's just so different. Even though I genuinely, subjectively think it makes a lot more sense. To talk like that makes a lot more sense. But it's just efficient. It's more efficient. Means more. The fact that you use intonation makes a lot of sense as well. You could say the same thing, but say it slightly differently, and it means something else. It's efficient. But at the same time, it's tricky. It's very tricky. For people who don't know, yes, there are languages without the word "the." Yes, Russian is one. Latvian is another one. Don't think Polish has the word "the" either. Just German? Yeah, it does. They've got der and die. So yeah, they do. Yeah, but a lot of the Baltic languages, at the very least, they don't have the word "the." It's very efficient, but it's hard to get used to. Definitely hard to get used to. Hey Bugsy, how many times did you write spaghetti code? before realizing, and how did you handle it? I still do. I still do. Like, honestly, what I do, right, for the most part, is say I'm making a new feature. Let's have a look. Let's look at literally the most recent thing that I've scripted, right? It is, let's brighten this just so it's easier to see. Not as easy to see. It's this. It's a little falling stalactite, right? Easy enough. This is the script that I used for it. Pardon me. Sorry, the liquid energy, hashtag not sponsored, is getting to me a little bit. This is still technically spaghetti code to me, because it's not fully optimized, and it's not optimized in the way that, like, oh, it can be a bit more performant, I can make it better. It's in the way that, like, this script can only ever be used to make this script run. This script cannot be recycled to basically allow me to do other things or make other game objects or different things, essentially. Sorry, hold that thought real quick. My partner is just calling me. Just want to pick up to make sure that they're all okay and safe. I'll be 2 seconds. Alrighty, the missus is coming home. She's heading home. She's gonna come and say hi. So if you see someone coming in behind me, don't be alarmed. My house isn't being burgled. It's just my partner coming home. She's been at a craft fair all today. So she's been selling her own stuff. Mic muted. Am I back? Yeah, I'm back now. You can hear me now, right? Yeah, I purposely muted just because my missus was calling me. So yeah, it should be okay now. Where was I? Handle spaghetti. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Yeah. Let me load up paint. I'll kind of showcase. Paint. So I've got currently this script here. This is my spaghetti code of, like, falling stalactite. So that's a terrible falling thing, because I'm not even going to Thig. Yeah, falling Thig. I was going to say I'm not even going to attempt to, like, spell out stalactite, but then I then go on to spell the word thing incorrectly. Amazing. Amazing. Look at me. I'm a professional streamer. No, it's not a professional streamer. I'm a professional English speaker. Yeah, English is the, like, only language I speak fluently for context, and I still screw this up. Imagine what it's like learning, like, Russian. But yeah, falling thing. This works independently of itself. This script can only ever be used to make the falling thing work. It can't be used to make anything else happen. On the flip side, however, if I come along, let's zoom out ever so slightly. Oh, there we go. I can make this. There. No, I'm just gonna do this. However, if I was to come along and make this script, and let's call this interact. Interact. There we go. Amazing. English speaking, by the way. Interact. This script is purely responsible for if I press the E button, let's say. When I press a certain button to do a certain thing, to trigger the interact script. I can then inherit from this, and I can have multiple things happen. So when the E button is pressed, I can open a door. Open door. Or I could, I don't know, flip the switch. Flip. Switch. There we go. I need to get one of those Wacom pens so I can just type stuff easily. But, yes, it's 3 scripts, but these scripts recycle code from this because it's all inherited. So it's more efficient, because if I want to make something else later on down the line, let's say, for example, I want to speak to a NPC, but I trigger the dialogue by interacting with them by pressing the E button. Previously, I'd have to basically write a whole interact script again, blah, 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 making it such I can just inherit from this, create, and then the dialogue script, the actual interaction with the NPC, all that script ever has to do is actually, the only thing that has to happen in this script is the actual interaction itself. I don't have to set up the conditions for the interact to happen, just what happens when the interaction happens itself. So it's just easier. It makes my life a lot easier going forward, rather than having a bunch of standalone scripts that basically only work for themselves. Like, for example, this falling thing. Essentially, what this is doing, this falling thing, essentially sends a raycast down, and if the player is, like, within that raycast, it basically says, do a thing. In this case, it's set the gravity on the stalactite to 1 to set it so it falls. But if I set up a certain script that basically says, send the raycast down and then do something, I can basically have anything go on. So I could inherit a script from this that basically says, well, when that, remember, all this script is doing is basically detecting if something is within that raycast. If that happens, make the stalactite fall. If the player is in a line of sight, activate like the aggro sense for the enemy. Those kind of things. So, like, technically speaking, to summarize, this is still kind of spaghetti code, because it's not 100% optimized or 100% efficient for my workflow. So I'm still going to have to come into this and make it work differently and essentially make it more reusable. So technically, in my context, it is still spaghetti code, because I've been lazy in setting this up. I just did the quick way. I made it work, and that's fine. But I can make it more efficient and refactor it to work in multiple different contexts. So, to answer your question in a really long roundabout way, I will always write spaghetti code, because the way I develop my games is I make it work first, and then I make it work well afterwards. And that's it. Like, when I'm prototyping, because at the end of the day, I don't want to spend an hour, let's say, an arbitrary number, I don't want to spend an hour making really efficient, clean code, then to just realize that the feature that I've spent all that time programming doesn't really work in the context of the game I'm making. So I've wasted that time. Whereas if I just made it work first, tested it, said like, oh, well, this doesn't work, I don't really like how this functions in my game, I can test it and prototype it much quicker, meaning that I can understand whether I should continue to make it more optimal later down the line, if that makes sense. Unironically, I think like just prototyping things fast is the right thing to do, so that you can like, yeah, you can figure out if it works in the context of your game first, and then expand upon and make it more efficient and make it work better later down the line. So I don't think like you need to like necessarily handle spaghetti code. Acknowledging that something is done quickly rather than properly is fine, but I think there's always a time and a place for that. And prototyping is that place. You don't need to spend a load of time making something work properly if you don't know yet whether it's going to be a feature that you're actually going to continue to use. So embrace the spaghetti code. He was on the phone. Am I still muted? Oh no, I shouldn't be still. You can all hear me now, right? I haven't been talking for the last like 10 minutes while completely muted, right? That would be really, really awkward. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer that like you wanted or you're expecting, but like, yeah, spaghetti code isn't necessarily a bad thing, as long as you can acknowledge the time and the place where you do need to update it, you know? Because at the end of the day, having something work is always going to be better than having something be efficient, you know? But yeah, that's my, as you can tell, I ramble a lot. Like, I could talk for England, honestly. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers it. Mate, English is too complicated, trust me. Over here, we don't talk, we use telepathy. I know, like, honestly, I hear that all the time. English is probably, like, one of the more difficult languages to learn, generally speaking, just because like, the English language itself is kind of a bit, like, screwed. Like, we've got so many extra words. Like, the fact we've got there, where. It's all the same word, spelt differently, that all means something different. It's like, it's stupid. We don't need that. We don't need that. Like, our language is complicated, which is why, for me, learning another, not even like easier language, but like a language with a different like vocabulary structure or a grammatical structure is so hard, because I'm so used to overdoing everything and overcomplicated stuff that when I hear the simplicity of certain things and certain structured sentences, it doesn't compute. Me no comprende, you know? Yeah, it's strange. It's very, very strange. German has like loads of these. Die, der, das. Yeah, they've got loads. Because I've been learning a bit of German as well. Yeah, depending on whether it's a masculine, feminine, or plural kind of thing as well. The fact they also capitalize, they're like in English, you capitalize at the beginning of a sentence or for like a name of something. But in German, you capitalize like, there's like 4 different rules for when you need to capitalize things. Like, for example, just saying like the word mother, if I were to say like meine Mutter, like my mother, you capitalize the word mother. It's like, we don't do that in English. But yeah, it's crazy. Meine Mutter ist sehr klug, for example. Like, it's, yeah, completely different turn of phrase. It's mad. Okay, you can't hear me. Thank goodness. I'm currently working my own small project. Amazing. What kind of stuff are you making? What are you making at the moment? And when we say small, do you actually mean small? Or do you mean I'm making a game and it's turning into a big passion project and I'm going to keep making it for the next 5 years? That's Amber's tale for you. TLDR. This started out as a project for university. And here we are like a year and a half later. Crazy. That is awesome. I am always such an advocate for people starting to make games and doing their own projects. I think it's an absolutely amazing hobby to do. I'm obviously biased because I am literally making a big game, a passion project, and I want to make it my full-time career, but I think it is such an amazing hobby. Even just hobbyist game development, I think it's such an amazing thing to do. It's so fulfilling. Ooh, and I think my partner is home. You're gonna get to meet her. I think I can hear in the background. Hello? I think it's her. Either that or I've just been like, I'm being burgled right now. And it's gonna, this stream will have had both a fire alarm go off and a burglary. Now, wouldn't that be something? Hello? You nervous? Hello? You're shy. Hello? There she is. The camera's there. Hello, there she is, the missus. Look at her. Look at her. Hello. You alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cold out there. Chili con carne. Yeah. Yeah, Lola. I wrote a short comic 2 years ago, and I'm turning it into a visual novel. Awesome. I ordered a story, so I think I can keep it short. That's awesome. That's a really good place to start. Honestly, having that story already, that's going to be a great way to keep you motivated. Because you've got like that, you've got a set start, middle, and end, you know? You've got an end point. And that's some, yo, burglar stream. So true, honestly. But that's going to help you so much because you've got that predefined like structure already. You've kind of already got that timeline. That's a really good place to start. That's awesome. That is awesome. I remember the videos. You said, my lad said, yo, there's a uni project, then started working out full time. Honestly, like it literally started off as me just doing this for uni, and I was just like, oh, wait, this is fun. I'm enjoying myself. Like we're enjoying making this game. Let's just do it a little bit more. I'll spend a little bit more time on it. Like a year later, I'm still here, and I'm like, working on it part-time, wanting to turn it into my career. This started off as a uni project, man. Like, it's crazy how far it's come. Honestly, burglar stream, that's so funny. Really believe in the short projects. Yeah, honestly, like, especially when you're starting out, you need to start small. You need to keep it simple. You need to start small, because then you can stick with it. Yeah, amazing place to start. Amazing place. Are you in the ooh, pardon me, guys. Are you in the Discord community? Because I'd love to see some stuff if not. Or have I seen some stuff and I'm just a really neglectful community member and I just haven't seen what's going on? Either way, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Was I actually going over some... Oh yeah, I was going to go over the camera stuff, wasn't I? How my camera system functions. Is the person who wanted to see that still in the stream? Like, do we still want me to talk about the camera system? Because that's quite, like, it's quite an ordeal, I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, I can still go over it if you want me to. Or is there any part of Amazale that you want me to go over? Like, what would you like me to kind of talk about? Or do you want me to just kind of crack on? I'm probably not going to stream for all too much longer, because the plan was only to stream until about 5 o'clock, give or take. And we have been doing this for almost 3 hours now. It's crazy. Crazy. We've been averaging like 16 to 20 viewers. That's mad. I've been live for 2 hours 46 minutes. I know. It's been mad.
Time's passed quite quickly as well.
I know, honestly. We've just been talking the whole time. I've done absolutely no game development. None. Zero. No, that's a lie, of course. I'm sorry. I did draw 2 squares. I drew 2 squares. I shaded one of them in. And I drew a plus to indicate the player position.
You are a charming man. No
Thanks.
surprise if I ask things.
But yeah, no, it's been amazing. Ordeal, Eternal Ordeal, Hollow Knight reference. Did I accidentally reference Hollow Knight? No, honestly, if I did, that was completely coincidental. I just love the word ordeal. It's so like ordeal. It's not just like, oh, something's happened to me. I went through an ordeal. It's just bold. I love being a bit eccentric, you know. Ordeal, Eternal Ordeal. Who says that in Hollow Knight? I'm gonna Google this real quick. Am I accidentally... The Eternal Ordeal. This is like full-on Hollow Knight thing. How did I not know this? No, didn't know. Oh, is it a Zote reference? Oh, I feel terrible. I never want to say this again. Oh, no. Am I referencing Zote? No. I'm never going to say that ever again. Ever. Ever. That's horrible. What have I done? Blasphemy. But not quite blasphemous. But yeah. You didn't know that? I didn't know that. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't like I've played Hollow Knight. I have beaten the game. I've killed the final boss and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't say I've like I know all the lore or anything like that. Like I've probably spent about like 30-40 hours playing that game. It was about 30 hours that I spent playing Hollow Knight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 30 hours. So like, yeah, a decent amount, but like. Zote ruined the entire word. Yeah, honestly, Zote has single-handedly ruined that word for me. For context, in my playthrough, I let him die. I left him to die. I didn't like that man. Like, if there's one thing in this world that annoys me more than anything else, it's people with a massive ego. And like, you know the type. Those who are like, oh, I'm amazing. Stop. Like, I really dislike that kind of attitude towards things. Because you can always learn. There is always something to learn. That's my entire mantra. Like, I could literally be, like, I could release Amber's Tale. It could be it could earn Game of the Year, right? There is still so much I could learn. I could always do better. There's always room for improvement. People who are like, I'm the best, I'm just like, are you though? I don't know. It's just a pet peeve of mine. It's a bit of a pet peeve. I think it's like I don't know. It's definitely a me problem, but I don't know. It just grinds my gears when people are like that. And Zote was the embodiment of that kind of persona. Oh, and I left him to die. I just walked away. I just walked away, and I'm glad I did. Don't spoil for people. Exactly. That's why I'm trying really hard to like not spoil things. Like that's why I've said I'd beat the final boss rather than giving the name of the final boss and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but at the same time, it is like a old game. I don't know. I feel like people won't know about Amber's Tale if they don't know the Metroidvania genre already, you know? Like, anyone who ultimately would play Amber's Tale has most likely, like, either played or knows about Hollow Knight already. So I feel like it's... With Hollow Knight being an old enough game, I feel like as long as I preface things as, like, spoilers, I don't think it's too big of a deal to kind of, like, give micro spoilers. You want to get past? Don't worry. Oh, thank you, baby. But yeah, Hollow Knight's so good, man. No, it's not a problem, mate. You always have to learn. It's really good mindset. Exactly. Like, I feel like... And the thing, I love learning. I don't know. I just absolutely love to learn. It's like, I've finished university now, but I don't want to because I still want to keep doing courses and all that kind of stuff. I want to keep learning because I just enjoy it. I don't know. I just posted a screenshot in the art in the Discord. Oh, let me have a look. Ooh. Oh, I like that. My visual novel. Oh, I like that. Kind of hand drawn. It's got a very like mystical vibe. Oh, I like that a lot. That's really cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. What kind of style of game are you going for? Are you just going for kind of like a walking simulator kind of thing with it being very kind of like narrative driven, obviously with you having made the novel already? Or are you having some kind of mechanical hook in there as well? What's the plan? What are you doing? And while we do that, at this point, is there really any point in me starting to do any development? I feel because I'm gonna be wrapping it up. I think at this point, we've made so much progress. This right here is accumulation of 3 hours worth of work, and I feel like that is honestly in the embodiment of what Amber's Tale is all about. You know, this is a day's worth of progress on my game. This right here. And I love that. I love that. No mechanical cut whatsoever. That is completely fine. And that is probably a good thing. Is this one of the first games you've made? Or have you had some experience making other games before? You did. This is true. This cannot be taken away. I have developed part of my game today. I have made a big difference. This is the start. Honestly, what I'll probably do is off stream, I'll probably just map some bits out. So I might do another stream, maybe Friday. I might do another little bit of a stream on Friday. We'll see. I do want to have this be a bit of a regular thing, but I also don't want to push it too hard. Because naturally, if this stream is anything to go by, streaming won't be the most productive time for game development. So... I should maybe somewhat limit it ever so slightly, but this has been a really, really good time. I've really enjoyed speaking to you all and learning about your stories, your development journeys, and answering questions and helping you along. It's been really, really fun. Really, really fun. And I don't want to stop that. But at the same time, I do also have a game to make. So I'm going to have to make sure I strike that balance, you know. So off screen, what I'm probably going to do over the next couple of days is I'll flush out this map a little bit, and then so in game on the next stream, this we'll have a bit of an idea as to what the demo will look like overall from a map perspective, an overall top-down view of the map, and I can start actually going into the editor and showing my workflow for how it will actually function, because I feel like once we've got this set up, it's going to be easy enough, because the workflow for actually setting up the levels I've pretty much got that down. I could probably talk while setting up the basics of the level itself, because I've kind of already got it kind of templated already in a test scene, so I could probably get that done reasonably quickly, and I feel like I can do that while talking and engaging with you guys a lot more. I'm just making a story, and I'm thinking of putting the art in asset packs. That's honestly such a good idea, especially if you're kind of doing it in your own free time and you don't mind people just using your old assets. It's honestly such a good idea, especially because you can just, even if you're not getting money for it, get that reach, and like giving away those assets for free or whether you pay for it is another good way to just like slightly market your game and just get some additional eyes on it. Like, and I'm a big fan of recycling and reusing things for multiple points of context. Like, I if you can't tell, if you kind of been joining the stream a little bit late, I've been talking about that this whole stream, whether it be reusing scripts to recycle like previous code that you've made, or even as I said, actually me streaming today, I'm doing it for multiple different reasons. It's a way to connect with you and answer questions and engage with the community a lot more, but it's also a way to get monetized maybe a little bit easier because I can get those watch hours up a lot quicker. But it's also here as a way for me to get feedback on things I'm making. Less so today because, I mean, no, tell you what guys, everyone, can you put in the chat your feedback on the work that we've done on this stream today? I'd love your feedback on this right here, which is, for context, basically just if I open up this scene as well in additive, we have basically just cloned the outline of our current two scenes. So yeah, can I get a rating out of 10? How valuable has this been?
This is my
Yeah. Oh, have we got this? We need to come just a little bit more this way. A little bit more this way.
nice wrap.
There we go.
Goals.
We've got a thumbs up already. What else can we get? Can we get some feedback in the chat for today's development? For context, I had a plan in my head. I was going to make a whole scene. There would have been a whole room up here. But no. Oh my goodness. Let's have a look. 473 out of 472. Now that is some math. That is a rating right there. Amazing square drawing skills. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. 10 out of 17. Oh wow. 10 out of 10. Loved how chill and informative it was. Thank you very much. Minus 10 out of 10. Wow. You really hated this, didn't you, Doug? You really hated this. Do you hate me? Is that what it is? Do you just hate me?
Death like Scout.
Yeah, he doesn't like Scouts. Honestly, I would not put that. I wouldn't hold that against you. When I left, you had a square. Now you've got two. Amazing. Thank you, Dynam. Thank you so much. Exactly. We've got two whole squares. But do you know what we have? We might not have an entire map made. We might not have any actual progress in Unity. We might not have any new mechanics, new hooks, or even a story for the game yet. But do you know what we do have? We have memories of the last 3 hours where we've spent together, we've sat here, we've talked, we've laughed, we've engaged with each other. And you know what? I have had an absolute blast. I have absolutely loved it. This is not what I expected this to be whatsoever. As I said, I expected to be talking to myself and my grandma. And my grandma wouldn't even show up because she doesn't even know how to work an iPad. I don't even think she knows what YouTube is. But I will tell you something, I have absolutely loved this. This has gone so much better than I thought it would have. And thank you everyone so much for everything. I really appreciate you all being here. And I really hope we can do this a bit more often. And I'm going to make a conscious effort to do this at least once a week. At least once a week. I'm not going to make any promises and confirm when it'll be or what that stuff, but I will make the promise that I will try to do this as often as possible and strike that balance between actually developing the game and actually building this community and being part of the community. Because you can only do so much in Discord. You can only you can only like interact as much, and I can only respond to so many messages at a time. But at least here we can all come together, and we can be the LazyD community. You know, I like that. I like that. And now when Dynam's here, it's crazy. I know. Yeah, Dynam. That the Dynam is in my stream. How crazy? How crazy is that, guys? It's crazy. He's got like 30,000 subscribers. 30,000. I mean, you've got to be pushing 35 now, right? Dynam. I'm gonna bomb you right now, Diamond. Here we are. Look at this. 26.1k. This guy right here. This guy right here is in my stream. How much that? How much that? Sold by popularity. Look at that. 240k views. Crazy. And also, everyone in the chat now, if you're not subscribed to Dynam, go subscribe to Dynam. You are missing out. You are missing out if you're not. Honestly, their videos are amazing. Go check them out. Go check them out. Also, not quite 30k. I mean, if you round up, it's 30k. You know, you're closer to 30k than you are to 20. Let's put it that way. You're closer to 30 than you are to 20, and that's impressive. Yo, we have Scouse and a Scot with the same stream. What, Dino? Are you a Scottish? You're Scottish. See, I was actually speaking to my partner about this. Diana, you can vouch, right? I was trying to figure out where Dynam was from.
Yeah.
Not in like a scary stalkerish way. I just want to preface that straight way. But in the way that like you don't sound American, which is basically where most, like you look on YouTube, most developers are either European or American. For the most part, just because it's got that broad kind of it's just biggest population, you know? But I could tell you were kind of British by like how you spoke, but I couldn't quite figure out where in Britain. Again, not in a scary stalker way, but in a like, oh, this is interesting. It's another British like dev streamer, you know. So it's Scotland though. That is nice. No, it'd be nice. No, it'd be nice if there was some work to rate. Your game is too cool to ignore. Yeah, honestly, are you ignoring these two squares? We have something to rate. It is 2 entire squares worth of work. Thank you very much. Cool name, bro. It's crazy indeed. The power of being Scott. He has great video. Honestly, Dynam's all about it. All about it. He's from the Netherlands. 100% Dutch, but I use the British accent. I have so many friends in Holland. I went a couple of years ago. It's so cool. I like one in the. It's like it's weird. It's very similar, isn't it? So do you currently still in the Netherlands then? Is that where you live, or are you over in the British side of things? But yeah, you do sound very British. Very British. Very British. I guess it's kind of the same with me, where like I'm Scouse through and through from Liverpool. But like you can't really tell that I'm from Liverpool until I tell you I'm from Liverpool, and then you're like, oh yeah, now it makes sense because you sound like you're from Liverpool. But at the end of the day, who wants to sound like this? I don't think I get many viewers if I started talking with my Scouse accent, would I? I know, every time I start live streaming though, if I don't bring the Scouse accent out, then it doesn't really go that well. But be honest with me, guys. If I actually talk like this, would you watch my devlogs? Would you? I don't know if you would, because I think this just sounds quite annoying. But I'd love to get your opinions. Should I start putting the Scouse accent on? Should I talk like this in my devlogs? Would I get more viewers? Honestly, I can't do it. It makes me cringe. I just cringed myself. But yeah, I don't think that would bode well for my. I don't think that would bode well for my YouTube career, would it really? Yeah, let's also like not snip that or anything. Can I just delete part of my live stream? I don't want that on the internet, you know. I kind of don't want that permanently on the internet. Could you imagine though? Let me pull up my last script, my last devlog. Where are we? Where is my script? Oh, where is it? My drive. Where is it? I need to organize my scripts here, man. What was it? Upgrading progression. That was it. Spiritual accent. Make sure of the accent I've had. I've never been to the. You've never been to the UK, man. You need to come over to the UK. You need to come over. We'll go for a coffee. We'll talk game dev. Or we won't talk game dev because, you know, there are other things in the world, and I don't think game dev being my entire life. I feel like game dev being my entire personality is maybe not the way to go. I love game dev, and I talk about game dev an awful lot, but maybe that's why I don't have many friends. Because most people don't have the same kind of passion for game dev that I do, so I feel like I annoy people when I talk about game dev so much. That's why I like streaming. It's another great reason to stream. You will like game dev, so I can talk about game dev as much as I want. I've only ever been to Germany once. That's my experience not being in the Netherlands. Yeah, we're in the Netherlands because I've got a couple friends that live over there. So I've been to Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Den Haag, or the Hague. I absolutely love it there. I love it. It was actually somewhere that I to some extent, I'm still considering like living in for some period of time, because I absolutely love it. I love it because you've got like the Hague, the Hague or Den Haag, which is just so. It's still got that old worldy kind of vibe to it. You've got Rotterdam, which is just uber modern, and then Amsterdam, which is Amsterdam. You know, you can't really beat it. So yeah, I want to become a game dev YouTuber as well. So that Lazy hears my accent as well. Yeah, honestly. The thing is, right, unironically, I think people with an accent have a bit of an advantage when it comes to YouTube. Like, as long as most people can easily enough understand you, as in your accent isn't so strong that people can maybe like struggle to understand you, I feel like you actually have an advantage because you become memorable. Like, I think that's why, like, especially with American streamers, they need to have a bit of an additional edge, because a lot of Americans like sound quite similar, so it's quite a saturated market. But like when you've got a bit more of a stronger accent, or a European, or even just not even European, just a bit of a unique accent within the game space, gives you a bit of an advantage because you're more memorable. So maybe I should start speaking Scouse, honestly, because I haven't bumped into another Scouse, a proper thick Scouse game developer. Yeah, like Jonas, exactly. Like, he's got such a unique kind of like dissonance. Is that the right word? Or dialect, idiolect? The way they speak is so unique. Like, you hear them and you know it's Jonas Tyroller, you know? Or you listen to Brackies, you know it's Brackies straight away just from hearing them. Like, obviously, it's just unique. It's a really good selling point. Or in Dynam's case, you've got a voice as smooth as butter. Like, the bass in this man's voice, it's incredible. Like, honestly, I listen to lo-fi all the time. Lo-fi is my jam. I love listening to lo-fi. Like, I've been playing it in the background. Whenever I'm developing, I listen to it. Dynam's voice, it's so smooth. It's comparable to lo-fi. So it's a really good space to have. I am so dyslexic. I can't read these messages. So many things. Oh yeah, okay. Talking about the fact I should definitely do Scouts. Okay, yeah, maybe not. We'll see. It would do fine. We should clip it. No, don't clip the Scouts. Please, I beg. No. Someone clip it and me. When he's a really famous YouTuber, we can post it. Oh my god. No, don't be doing that. I've never been to UK. I only drink tea with milk. I mean, it's the same. You can't be a cup of tea. You can't be a cup of tea. I gotta hope to catch another one in stream soon. 100%. Like, as I said, I'll try to do this a lot more often. But yeah, it's been great having you here. Thanks for joining, Dynam. Like, really appreciate it. I'll actually be ending soon enough myself, to be honest. Dynam should do a podcast. Dynam should do a podcast. Like, a game dev podcast with Dynam would be awesome. Or even just some, like, interviews or something like that. That would be awesome. You've got such a podcastable voice. for sure. That'd be so cool. I'm a genuinely British person who's just never been there. I don't know. Maybe you should keep it that way. Britain doesn't really have much going for it at the moment. Like, I'm trying to leave myself as soon as it's possible. But I'd want to go somewhere like Austria, I think. I think we're both talking about Austria, isn't it?
Because I convinced you.
Yeah, but it didn't really take much convincing. You said there's mountains and there's trees, and I'm just like, take me. Take me there.
Austria, Germany, Europe somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe. We just want to travel. We just want to travel somewhere. We want to go exploring, see the world, you know. Yeah, you're gonna be known as the Scouse Dev. Oh, that hurt. That hurt my heart. There's been an arrow shot right into my heart. Oh.
Too dramatic.
Oh, it's not dramatic enough. It's not dramatic enough.
Unique.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, but here we are. We have mountains and trees. I know, but like mountain, like forest, like pine forest, basically. Yeah, I want to walk out the door and I want to be in Amber's Tale. Like, as I said earlier, like, there's a reason Amber's Tale looks the way it is, and it's because this kind of environment is my happy place. I love being in this kind of environment. I love it. I feel so at peace. But yeah, I think loads of countries have. Yeah, I get what you mean. Don't worry. But like that whole environment of just like mountains and trees and being in a forest, like a pine forest, not just any old forest, not just any old trees. I want to be able to walk out my door and just immediately be on a hike. It's just amazing. So cool. I'd absolutely love it. I'd love it. But yeah. But on that note, come to Turkey. I've been to Turkey a couple times, actually. It's been a while since I've been to Turkey, but I have been to Turkey. Like, where did I go? Let me bring up Google Maps, because I can't remember. Turkey's like down here somewhere, isn't it? Yeah. I went to Antalya. There we go. I went to Antalya, somewhere around here, on a family holiday, and where else? There was one other place. I think it was maybe at the top. I don't know. I think I've definitely been to Antalya. I can't remember where the other place was, though. I'm not gonna lie, but I've been there. I've been there. Come to Italy. Never mind. Do not come to. In the same sentence, you just completely U-turn. I really want to go to Italy. Really want to go to Italy. I actually thought for the longest time that I was gonna be. I thought I was like part Italian, but then my partner got me in.
Because you make pasta.
I love to make pasta. I love all Italian food. I've got like a pasta maker. I love cooking. I love it. I thought I had Italian in my veins. My partner got me a DNA test. You know, one of those tests that tell you exactly where you're from. And I can confirm I am 0% Italian. And when I say I was heartbroken, I was heartbroken. But yeah, no, I'm not not Italian, but I am 12% Scandinavian. So I've got a bit of Viking in me. A bit of Viking. We have 4 seasons. We have 4 seasons, unlike UK's rain. Yeah, the UK has like rainy season, and then like we have like a week where it goes like 30 degrees. 30 degrees Celsius. It's really, really hot for a week, and then it just rains the rest of the year. Like, it's really sucky.
Houses and the roads fall apart.
Yeah, the roads fall apart, the houses collapse. It's either way too hot or it's way too cold. There's no mid ground, and it's just terrible. Lamo, that one was personal. Yeah, I'm so sad. I am so sad. Istanbul. I've not been to Istanbul. I do want to go to Istanbul though. I just want to travel the world, man. I just want to see everything. I want to see everything there is to see. And it's fascinating. The world is such a beautiful place. I want to see it all. I want to see all that there is to offer, you know? But yeah, that's about where we're at. I think I'm gonna call it here for the stream. It's been absolutely amazing because I do need to I need to start cooking dinner because it's gonna take an hour because I'm cooking drumsticks, so I need to get them in the oven ASAP. I need to make sure that I get some sleep because I am at work again at 5 o'clock tomorrow. But as I said, I'll be doing this a lot more often. I hope you'll enjoy me. Enjoy me? I hope you enjoyed and will join me again for the next stream. I don't know where it is, but obviously if you haven't already, join the Discord. I'll leave a link in the comments here so you can join that if you haven't already. And that's the best place to get alerted as to the next time we're going to be streaming and getting involved. But yeah, thank you so much for all joining. It's been absolutely amazing. I've had such an amazing time talking to you all, and I genuinely cannot wait for the next time we do this. I said maybe Friday, but I'm not making any promises. We'll have to see. But thank you all for joining. It's been absolutely amazing, and I will see you all very, very soon. Have a good day, guys.